lies is the truth, and that the truth is the lie.
Who changed the truth for God into a lie? In English, Jesus Christ, in Hebrew, is Yahweh Shai. So do or die. The immaculate conception is deception, along with the myth of giving gifts on December 25th. Christmas is Satan's claw, the birth of Nimrod, and not the son of God. To you was kinda odd. On the Passover, Christ was born in the spring. So now we bring the truth about the King of Kings. That's Black Jesus and not Caesar Borgias.
And the facts can't be changed. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. Hebrew Israelites. Kwam Yahshua. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High.
Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Shalom.
Thank you for joining us. Here we are live in 8524 South Braeswood, Houston, Texas, 77071. Please feel free, if you're in the metropolitan area, come on by and we have a seat for you. All right, our class days are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Monday and Wednesdays from 7 to 10, Fridays from 6 to 9, and Saturday morning Sabbath classes are held from 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. or when questions are all over. All right. We also have locations in San Antonio. If you're down in San Antonio, please feel free to drop on by. See Bonabad and Awarnayer, those brothers out there. They've been out there for like 20 years. All right. The address out there is 4219 Centergate Street, San Antonio, Texas, 78217. All right. And we are also located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Priest Mashaba is out there. And the address out there is 501 Copper Avenue, Northwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87102. All right. This week on announcements, kids class is held every Sunday. That's ISBHPK kids, and it's held every Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m. You can, however, watch all previous recorded classes on the same channel on the YouTube. All right. Someone okay?
Yeah, we good.
Oh, okay. All right. As far as ISBHPK, you can watch all our live classes. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good jazz. And we are going to be having our ISBHPK cable show, and the new season is to be announced. So stay tuned for that, because if you're local,
Next month.
oh, it's next month?
Yeah.
There it is. Get excited. Next month.
Get hype.
Get hype. That's what you had. So it's going to be local in, on Comcast, Channel 17, or on live stream, hmstv.org. All right. You can also, every morning, Priest Mashaba has Blog Talk Radio. The Blog Talk Radio is really, really...
How does this mic sound? Switch mic.
Strong.
No, you just said the mic sounds bad.
Shalom. Shalom.
Fine.
All right. Can you, everybody hear me? Perfect. Perfect. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. Every morning, Mashaba, Priest Mashaba, has a Blog Talk Radio show. That's really how I start my day. That's how everybody should start their day. It's a good morning breakfast, spiritually wise, for your spirit, and let that get nourished and fed, and let that get fed. That spirit man get fed, so you can carry on throughout the day. All right. The Blog Talk Radio is at blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba. That's MASHAHBA, and that's Monday through Fridays at 9:30. On your way to work, you definitely want to listen to that. All right. If brothers want headbands, armbands, girdles, fringed out shirts with logos with Israel wear on it, you can order them on Facebook at Israel wear. Okay. If you have any questions pertaining to the topic, off the topic, or any questions in life that you might want answered, you can text during class hours. It's a text only. Priest Quatazab, which is 303-557-8979. All right. After class, you can blow up his phone all you want, or you can text or call Priest Kazaki 281-707-2737. If you don't feel like texting, you can email your questions or your concerns at isbhbk@isbhbk.org. All right. As far as donations, monetary, the information for the account is down at the bottom. The Wells Fargo account or the Google Wallet account is down at the bottom. Scripture says money is a defense. You know, that's what keeps the lights on. That's what pays the rent. So that's always good to help out to do that. As far as other donations, books, pens, papers, pencils, apocryphas, encyclopedias, dictionaries. The older, the better. All right, but pens, notebooks, Bibles. His brother gave. He donated some apocryphas and Bibles. And Barakatah Yahweh Khan. That was a really big help because it's always being put to good use. If you guys know anything about leasing buildings or big locations, nice locations for a good price, that'll help. That's a good donation because we are always looking for a new location, a bigger building for our school. And that's it. We're gonna open it up and start it off with questions. If you have any questions, please feel free. Hit that bottom of the screen on YouTube. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start it off with questions. Let me get my link sent out. Does anybody have any questions in here?
Sir.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Nice. How's everybody feeling?
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, if you got questions online, we're going to take questions for the first hour, and then we're going to go into this class. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay? Like the channel, share it, make sure that you subscribe. What are good scriptures to absolve the we were never meat eaters doctrine? Others need more than the dietary laws to explain it, especially with Romans 14. Well, there's a few scriptures. The one that pops in my head right away. Well, let's go to let's go to the law. Let's go to Exodus. So the question is, what are some good scriptures? And you're gonna find me a few, right? What are some good scriptures to absolve the we were never meat eaters doctrine? Others need more than the dietary laws to explain it, especially with Romans 14. The problem is, if you need more than the dietary law, the dietary law tells you what you can and can't eat. So there wouldn't be a need for it. There wouldn't be a need to show you clean and unclean animals if we didn't eat meat. So that right there in itself, I mean, if a person is denying the law, if they're denying the dietary laws, then they're literally denying the scriptures. So let's go to Exodus real quick, because we know that during the Passover, what we were commanded to do. We were commanded. It was a commandment. This wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't a maybe you should do this, maybe you shouldn't. We were commanded to slaughter a lamb and eat it, right? Roast it with fire, right? So somebody give me Exodus 12 and verse 1. Now, I'm going to say this. If you don't want to eat meat, that's fine. But it's not against the scriptures to eat meat. Give me the one that says, judge not a man whose meat drink. Give me that one. It's not against the Bible to eat meat. Now, it's against the Bible to eat unclean meats. It's against the script. What you got?
Genesis chapter 9, 3 and 4.
All right, let me hit this, and then we're going to jump to that. It's not against the scriptures to eat meat, but it is against the scriptures to eat unlawful meat, unclean meat, like such as pork, pig, swine, shrimp, crab, lobsters, defiled birds like eagles and hawks, and what's the one that the vulture, right? So if you gotta ask yourself, why would there be a law of what not to eat and what to eat when it comes to flesh, when it comes to meat, if we didn't eat meat? Let's go there real quick. Go to Exodus. And let's go to 12:3 real quick. I mean, this is commandment. So even if you decide that you don't want to eat meat, you're a vegetarian for the whole year, we know that at least this time in the Passover, you have to eat meat. Right? So for a person to say that, well, the law doesn't justify us being meat eaters, we're going to get it right here from the law. Exodus chapter 3 and verse 12 and verse 3.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying,
Unto some of the congregation.
All the congregation
Go ahead.
of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb.
A what?
A lamb.
Last time I checked, lamb was meat. Take a lamb. Go ahead.
According to the house of their father.
Read.
A lamb for an house.
Right. So you took your lamb. Now let's see what we did with the lamb. Let's go. We're going to skip. We're going to skip and jump down to verse 8. So we got a lamb. The whole congregation got a lamb for each house. Now let's see what we did with this lamb. Go ahead. Verse 8.
Verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh.
They shall do what?
Eat the flesh.
Yeah, we ate the flesh of the lamb. We're in Exodus chapter 12 and 3. Then we jump down to verse 8. We shall eat the flesh. Read.
In that night.
In that night. Not only did we give me the one. Not only did it tell us that we had to eat the flesh, it also told us how we were supposed to cook the Passover. Read on.
Roast with fire.
Do what?
Roast with fire.
Go ahead.
And unleavened bread. And with bitter herbs. They shall eat it.
Read verse 9.
Eat not of it raw.
Right? So we weren't supposed to eat raw meat, that red pottage. Right? We weren't supposed to be vile and disgusting. So we weren't supposed to eat it raw. We were supposed to roast it with fire. Come on.
Nor sodden at all with water.
Right, meaning that we weren't supposed to boil it. You weren't supposed to boil your lamb. So you weren't supposed to make a lamb stew that night. You weren't supposed to put it in a crock pot and let it sit overnight. Roast it with fire, unleavened bread. Go ahead.
But roast with fire. His head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof.
With the pertinence thereof. Right, so we were supposed to keep it intact. All right, so that's one scripture. What else you got? Exodus what? 16. Go to Exodus chapter 16, because one of the things that people don't know, remember when we wandered around the wilderness for 40 years? What did we eat for those 40 years?
Manna, quail.
Yeah, we ate manna, but what was the manna?
Coriander seed.
It was coriander seed, which today is, who knows what coriander seed is today? Who knows what coriander is? Everybody loves it on their Mexican food. Cilantro. Right, so cilantro grows and you get the seeds from the coriander, and what we did, we ground it up into like a fine paste or flour, and we baked bread. But also the manna that rained down from heaven, that was quail. You find it?
It's
Let's go to Exodus chapter 16. Quail is a bird, which is meat. You said what? Exodus what? 16. Yeah, go start at but that, no, where it says it was quail. Let's see here. Yeah, because it tells us in here what it was. We're gonna find it. Q-A-L-E. We're gonna find it. What's the other one you had just in the meantime? What is that? Colossians 2?
Colossians chapter 2, verse 16.
What was the one that you wanted to go to, Jeremiah?
That would be Genesis 9, verses 3 and 4.
Let's go there.
When first gave meat to Moses. Noah.
Let's go there. Genesis 9. Yeah. This right here. Uppercut. Right?
Genesis chapter 9 and verse 3.
Uh-huh.
Every moving thing.
Every what?
Every moving thing.
Come on.
That liveth shall be meat.
Shall be what?
Shall be meat.
Right. It shall be food. Go ahead.
For you.
Go ahead.
Even as the green herb.
Right.
Have I given you all things.
Right. So everything that moveth, obviously that was clean. But also the herbs were for meat. Meat and medicine. Food and medicine. Go ahead.
But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat.
Right, so you weren't supposed to eat any bloody meat. We weren't supposed to eat blood. You were supposed to cook your meat all the way through. Even when you deal with the story of Esau and Jacob, and he was making his stew, what made it red pottage? It was the red meat that was in it. It was the meat that was in there that made the pottage red. So we definitely ate meat. Now, did we consume meat at the rate? Or let me say this: was the meat tainted like how it is now? Nah. Now it's. I mean, come on, man. They talk about chickens are bad now. They talk about chickens are unlawful. Come on, man. We know that they're not because the scriptures talk about the hens, and we dealt with that. But I would see why they say that, because when you look at the way a chicken operates these days, especially in like third world countries, you go to Jamaica and you look at a chicken will eat anything in Jamaica. You go to these poor countries, same thing with a goat. A goat will eat anything that it sees because they're being starved, but so will a dog. Dog will eat anything, eat his own babies. Customarily, dogs that just eat their own young. But when you die of starvation, right? Dog eat dog. It's a dog eat dog world. But what else we got?
16 and 13 for the quail.
You found it? Yeah, go to Exodus 16 and verse 13.
Exodus chapter 16 and verse 13. And it came to pass that even the quail came up and covered the camp.
The what?
The quail came up.
Let's read up a little bit. Let's read up a little bit. Because what was that quail? You're at verse 13?
God.
Yeah, read verse 11. No, you good. Read verse 11.
Verse 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel.
Right. We read this in Sabbath class. If you're in Sabbath class and if you follow us in the Sabbath readings, we've been through all of this, talking about the quail, what it was, or talking about the manna and what it was, because there's a lot of misconceptions on what the manna is. They tell you on the History Channel there was a manna machine. There was some machine that made food for the people for 40 years. But the scriptures say, and the Most High said, I've heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Why? Go ahead.
Speak unto them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be
You shall eat what?
Ye shall eat flesh.
Right. You shall eat flesh. Go ahead.
And in the morning ye shall be filled with bread.
Right, so in the evening you eat flesh, in the morning you eat bread. That was the manna. Go ahead.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord your power.
Come on.
And it came to pass that at even the quails came up.
The what?
The quails came up.
The flesh was what?
The quails came up.
Right. At the evening, the quails came. So everybody knows that quails are a delicacy. Little small bird, right? That's a delicacy. I'm surprised. Because everything biblical is never a delicacy. they turned everything defiled into a delicacy, like shrimps, like big old them big old
Sea roaches.
yeah, but I'm talking about the ones that are so big and pink.
Jumbo shrimp.
The jumbo shrimp. Yeah, look like my hand. Lobsters. They make those a delicacy, and they turn everything biblical into something it's not a delicacy. But if you go to like expensive restaurants, quail is still up there. Quail eggs, quail, those are delicacies, right? Little small chicken, right? You mess around, cook that too long, it'll just be bones. Shalom. But it said we eat flesh. Go ahead.
And covered the camp.
Uh-huh.
And in the morning, the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lie a small round thing, as small as a hoar frost on the ground.
Right. This was going into the coriander seed that was left. When the dew came, that seed was dropped. And it tells you when you read in other scriptures about the manna, I believe when you read in Numbers 11, it tells you we ground up the coriander seed and we made cakes. So we baked cakes and we ate flesh. What else? Tobit? Let's go to Tobit. So there's a few scriptures we can go to. I mean, listen, popular to contrary belief, we weren't running around like a bunch of vegetarians. What we got? Tobit what?
Start at verse 1.
Chapter 1.
2 and verse 1.
Chapter 2 and verse 1 and verse 2.
Him been in Tobit lately. Feeling himself.
The book of Tobit, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Now when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me, with my son Tobias, in the feast of Pentecost, which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks, there was good dinner prepared me, in the which I sat down to eat. Verse 2. And when I saw abundance of meat.
Abundance of what?
Of meat.
Abundance of what?
Of meat.
Yeah, see? An abundance of meat. Then what?
You like that,
Go ahead.
I said to my son,
Uh-huh.
go and bring what poor man soever thou shalt find out of our brethren.
Right, so we know that we ate meat. Go to watch this. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 31.
Ecclesiastes.
Let's see. Let me find the one that I want. Ecclesiastes 31 and verse 12. See, this chapter gives us a little bit of, it breaks down how we should eat our meat in moderation. Right? It talks about meat, wine, not being greedy. So read that. Ecclesiastes 31.
Ecclesiastes chapter 31 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
If thou sit at a bountiful table,
Go ahead.
be not greedy upon it,
Uh-huh.
and say not, there is much meat on it.
There's much what?
Much meat on it.
Right. It ain't talking about, oh, there's much fruits and vegetables on it. There's much plant life on it. Think about it. A bountiful table. When you see that bountiful table, it got all types of steaks, turkey, and just whole fowl, everything.
Right.
It's bountiful, right? There's another one. Let's see here.
Josiah's Passover.
Go to what is the one you have here? Colossians. Is that Colossians?
Yeah, 2.
Colossians 2.
2:16.
Well, Colossians 2 and verse 16. So we ate meat. We definitely got our meat on. We definitely got our eat on as a people.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 16.
Oh, get them over real shit. Go ahead, read that.
Colossians chapter 2, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat.
In what?
In meat.
Don't be judged in what?
In meat.
Yeah, because meat is not unlawful. It's not unlawful for us to eat meat. And you can't judge a man for eating meat. Right? There's another one. Let me pull this one the other day. Go ahead, what else?
Or in drink, or in respect of an holy day,
Right.
or of a new moon, or of a Sabbath days.
Right. Go to Romans 14 and verse 2.
Romans chapter 14, verse 2.
Uh-huh. Because again, it's not unlawful to eat meat. We definitely did it. So, I mean, if you don't want to eat meat, or if that person doesn't want to eat meat, that's on them. They don't have to, but we know that during the Passover, it's law. Right? Go ahead, read that.
Romans chapter 14 and verse 2.
Uh-huh.
For one believeth that he may eat all things.
Right. You see that? One believing that he can eat all things. Fruits, vegetables, meat, everything that's lawful. Right? Go ahead.
And another who is weak eateth herbs.
You see that? A man that's weak, he eat what?
Herbs.
Right, because what do the herbs do?
Healing.
The herbs are for the healing. The herbs were for the healing. When you go back into Genesis, it tells you that go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. The whole where you at? Somebody else get that.
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 11.
Uh-huh.
And Yahweh said, let the earth bring forth grass.
Go ahead.
The herb yielding seed.
Uh-huh.
And the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind.
Okay.
Whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so.
Is that the one I want? Yeah, that's not the one I wanted. It's in Genesis. It's in Genesis. Where's it at? Find that one for me.
Okay. It's
You found it?
yeah.
Go ahead.
Verse 29.
Verse 1 and 29.
Gone.
There it is. That's what I was looking for. Yep. Genesis 1 and 29. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed.
Right.
To you it shall be for meat.
Right. So even the trees, you have, like, think about it. You have something like the soursop. You got soursop trees, right? It bears a fruit and it bears a leaf. The fruit you eat, right? That's for meat. The leaf you use for the medicine. You see that? You boil it in tea. You drink it. You can boil it, rub it on your skin. It's good for inflammation. It's good for, it's a sedative, so it helps you sleep. But the fruit also has its properties. See, the potency is usually in the root and in the leaf of these different plants. Like there's a lot of plants that we don't eat or a lot of fruits we don't eat the skin of. But the potency and the fiber and all the nutrition is in the skin. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we still ate meat. Right? What else?
Second Ezra 9 and 26.
Let's see here. Second Ezra 9. Second Ezra 9. Right, this one is going into the herbs and the meat though. But you see, watch, read it. Go ahead. Because it's going right along what I was saying. Give me the one.
Second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 26.
Go ahead.
So I went my way into the field, which is called Ardath, like as he commanded me. And there I sat among the flowers, and did eat the herbs of
lot of people don't understand like wild dandelions. You can pick those, huh?
Ecclesiastes 37:29. That's what you want.
I think you got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people pick flower, the wild dandelions, and like a lot of these wild herbs. You can pick them and just make a salad with them if you know what you're picking. Go ahead.
And the meat of the same satisfied me.
Right, so we know that we use the plants, we ate them, as well as use them for medicine. But going back on the point, go to that Ecclesiastes 37. I don't want to lose the point that we're on.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 37.
Yeah, see, because you said, especially where, let's see here. Others need more than the dietary laws to explain it, especially with Romans 14. Yeah, all Romans 14 and verse 2 and 3 is saying is that one man believes he can eat one thing and another man believes he can eat something else. One man believes he can eat everything, because some brothers can. Some brothers can eat meat, they can eat herbs, they can eat everything, right? But some men can't. Why? Because if they eat the meat, it gets them sick. If they eat meat, it flares up whatever sickness you have in you. Because a lot of the meat, first of all, is, meat ain't something that just digests real easy. Meats, if you don't have a good, if you want to get technical, if you don't have like a good bowel system, a good intestinary, digestive system, if it doesn't move according, that meat sits in you. That meat sits in you, and what happens? It brings sickness, cholera, like the scriptures tell us about. So all this is saying is that one man believes he can eat everything, but law is not everything that's unlawful. It's everything within the law. Meat is lawful, but there's some that. Watch when you read verse 3. It says, "Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let him which eateth not judge him that eateth." So it's saying that I can't judge you because you decide you want to be a vegetarian.
Yeah, they cut themselves with that scripture.
Yeah, for them to even bring that and say, see, we didn't eat meat, that don't make no sense. Because it's telling you right here in verse 3, don't judge a person for not eating meat, and don't judge a person that does eat meat. Go ahead, read where you at.
Ecclesiastes chapter 37, verse 29 through 30. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing.
Right, be not unsatiable, meaning be not unsatisfied. Go ahead.
Nor too greedy upon meats.
Nor too greedy on what?
Upon meats.
Go ahead.
For excess of meats bringeth sickness.
Right, you see that? If you got a diet full of just meat, it's going to bring sickness. So remember back in the day they had like the food pyramid, and it showed like what was on the bottom? The bottom of the pyramid was like fruit, grains, and nuts.
Yeah.
And then the middle was what? Meat. Then the other, there was 4 sections if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, poultry.
Dairy.
Dairy.
And then at the very, very top was sugars, right? Because it went in a pyramid to show you like, this is what you want to have the more of in your diet.
Well, you want to have more fruits and vegetables.
So that was the base.
Half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables.
Right, but see, they changed that. They changed it and took away having more meat and then put in more vegetables. Because think about it, man, you consume all that meat. Listen, I know when I eat meat, what happens? I start getting hot. My body, my digestive system, my metabolism moves slow. And I'm sitting there trying to process the burgers, right? The Whataburger double-doubles, right? The In-N-Outs. Trying to process. Hey, do me a favor, put that fan on us. It's on blaze up in here.
Thinking about hot meat, son.
Yeah, thinking about meat, it makes you hot. So, even us, we eat meat. We eat meat up here, but not, I don't even buy meat because it's not something I want to eat every day. I know my body, as I get older, I can't handle it. So a lot of my stuff is what? Lentils, right? I might,
Pasta.
yeah. Oh, there it is. I like that. She put it there. So it was grains, carbs, fruits and vegetables, meats and dairy, and sugar. That was the food pyramid back in the day. They switched it to put more vegetables on the plate, small portion of meat, small portion of carbs. Because they're realizing that the meat is making people sick. Watch, finish reading. Not saying that we don't eat meat, because we do eat it. Go ahead.
And surfeiting will turn into choler.
Right, surfeiting will turn to choler. You know, when you eat meat and your body tries to digest it, you release choler or choler to break down. You'll release that bile to break the meat down. But what happens is, when you eat too much meat, your body's over processing that bile and that choler, and that's what makes you sick. You ever eat a big old burger? You ever eat a big burger or a big steak and try to lay down? And you wake up a couple hours later like, oh, my stomach. Stomach still feels full and bloated? Because that choler is trying to break that meat down. Your body is producing excess acid, trying to break down that meat. So it's telling you, yeah, we ate meat, but don't eat it in excess, because it'll make you sick. If that was the case, if we did it would say, don't eat meat. If we didn't eat meat, it would say, all flesh is unclean. So, you know, hopefully these couple of scriptures help. I mean, we went through a few different examples, Old Testament to New, Apocrypha. So, hopefully that helped out. I've heard that too. Oh, we didn't eat meat, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I've heard it. But we definitely sunk our teeth into that meat. Let's see here. Let's see if we can take one more, and then we're going to go into this class. It says, my husband and I came into the truth together about a year ago, but now he doesn't want to follow it fully, such as doesn't want to honor the Sabbath, and we don't study the Bible as a family anymore, etc. He still believes and know who we are as a people, but just isn't pursuing it like before. We have 2 kids under 2. What is my role now as a wife now? Well, your role as a wife is to still be a wife according to the Bible. You know, you got to remember that, and we tell this to brothers and sisters all the time. Wow, that's a huge burger. We tell this to brothers and sisters all the time, that your role as an Israelite, your role as a wife, your role as a husband doesn't diminish. It's not dependent on what the next man is doing. Is that one? Is it? Oh, we're here actually. Yeah, your role doesn't diminish. If your husband is not telling you to put down the Bible, just because he's not pursuing it don't mean that you stop. What is it? Yeah, go to Romans real quick. Oh, I was there. The one thing is, you got to remember, you can't force him. You got to let him be convinced in his own mind. So you can't force him into following, but that doesn't mean that you stop. Actually, go to Corinthians. Let's do it just like this. Go to Corinthians. Y'all know what I want. 7. Right? You gotta hold fast to your faith. Yep. Corinthians 7, right? Go to Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 12. Basically, the question is, and I'll read it one more time. My husband and I came into the truth together about a year ago, but now he doesn't want to follow it fully, such as doesn't want to honor the Sabbath, and we don't study the Bible as a family anymore, etc. He still believes and knows who we are as a people, but just isn't pursuing it like before. We have 2 kids under the age of 2. What is my role now as a wife? This is going to be your role right here. Read that. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 12.
1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 12. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord.
Right. So remember, Paul was saying that Paul was giving a lot of advice on marriage in this chapter. Very good chapter. Some of it was his advice, his wisdom, according to the scriptures, and some of it was actual law. So he was letting us know in verse 12, he said, I'm speaking this, not the Lord. This ain't the law. But go ahead, read.
If any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she is pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away.
Go ahead, read verse 13.
And the woman which hath an husband,
right,
that believeth not,
right,
and if he be pleased to dwell with her.
And this is the key. He got to be, if he's pleased to dwell with you, and you're pleased to dwell with him, and he's not trying to pull you away from the truth and pull you away from the Bible. Read on.
Let her not leave him.
Right. You don't leave him. This is why. Read.
For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife.
How? Because what's going to happen is, what happened is, your belief, your faithfulness, your consistency, your diligence, that can wake him up. That can shake him, and he'd be like, oh, wow, okay. You can sanctify him through your belief, and vice versa. Same thing with it's funny because it's seeming like there's more and more sisters that are diligent, and their husbands is like, nah, I don't want to deal with that, right? And then what's happening is, we're telling the sisters, stick in there. As long as he's not trying to pimp you, tell you to go do crack, beat on you, he's not trying to pull you away from the spirit, then stay with that man. Stay with that man, because you can be that saving grace. You can still be a wife to him. You can still be a wife through the scriptures. You can still be Proverbs 31 woman, even if your husband is not following as diligent as you are. What's that? Yeah, we'll go there. We'll go there. Let me finish this. Go ahead.
And the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband.
Go ahead.
Else were your children unclean.
Right. How would your children be unclean? Because what's going to happen is, you got to remember, at least you said he's still pursuing it, just not as diligent. So he's still got some fight in him. You got to remember that you can't force the course of the river. Some people got to walk their path, and he has to be convinced of the truth. He has to figure out why he doesn't want to follow wholeheartedly. You can't do that. You can't figure it out for him, and you can't make him come to the truth. You just have to be that pillar of rest. You got to be that woman of the scriptures. And it's not hard. It's not hard. The class that we're going to go into is going to give some keys. It's going to give a few keys, baby. Right?
That's
but
right.
think about it. What does a wife do? Make sure the kids are okay. Make sure her husband is taken care of. I mean, to be honest, let's be real about it. I know we need it in these days because a lot of women don't know how to be a wife, but you don't need the Bible to tell you how to take care of your house, to tell you to take care of your husband. We shouldn't have to need the Bible, but we do, because a lot of sisters don't know. So, your job is to just continue to be that wife. Take care of the house. The scriptures say, wisdom, a wise woman buildeth her house. Proverbs 14 and verse 1. So you got to continue to stay diligent. I'm not sure where you are, but watch class. Keep watching class. You do got to remember that you have to be subject to your husband, but nothing wicked. If he's telling you to do wicked, you don't do that. But you just got to continue to take care of the kids, take care of the house, take care of him. Be that pillar of rest. When he comes home from the world, you got to be that. You have to be the light in your household. If you're moving in wisdom, what's going to happen is he'll see it. He'll see it, and he'll make he'll see, like, what do I want? Do I want to diminish that from her, or do I want to keep that going? You know, most men, I want my wife to walk in wisdom, so I'm not going to diminish that spirit if that's what she's trying to roll in, no matter what I'm doing. You know? So, yeah, your role is to just keep doing what you're doing as a wife. Be there for him. Again, you know, you could be the sanctification for your household through your belief. You know, fasting, praying. You know, a lot of times we want things. We want a lot of things, and there is a way to attain it. Go to real quick. Another thing you got to remember, Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Go there real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 1. Somebody else get Matthew. Somebody else get Matthew 10. Matthew 10 and verse 35. Actually, yeah, get that one first. Matthew 10. This is what you got to remember. You know, you both came into the truth together, and that's how it happens a lot. You got people that come into the truth together and somebody falls off. Husband and wife, husband falls off, wife falls off, best friends. I mean, you came in with a brother, right?
God.
Yeah, and what happened? You're here, right?
God.
He ain't. Since two shall be grinding in the field, one will be taken. Right?
God.
So we got to realize these things. Go to Matthew's, where we at? Matthew's 10?
10:34.
Read that. Matthew 10 and verse 34. You got to realize this point. Now, and I'm going to say this. Now you're living, now you're in the truth. Now you're living the Bible. You're living the things that Yahushua said would happen to families when they came into the truth. Watch. Read that. Matthew 10 and verse 34.
Matthew chapter 10 and verse 34.
Come on.
Think not that I come to send peace on earth.
Uh-huh.
I come not to send peace.
Read.
But a sword.
Right, and what does a sword do? A sword divides and cuts. Read on.
For I am come to set a man at variance against his father.
Right. See, when you're set at variance, opposite. You once were walking together. Now we're at variance. We're walking opposite. Read on.
And the daughter against her mother.
Uh-huh.
And the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Go ahead.
A man's foes shall be they of his own household.
Read it again.
A man's foes shall be they of his own household.
Right. See, Yahushua said it. A man's foes. A foe is an enemy. A foe is I don't want to say enemy, but it's someone that you battle against. Huh? A contender. Who are you going to contend against? A foe. It's going to be them of your own household. So now you live in the scriptures, because what you have to remember is this. Why is it happening? Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 1.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
My son,
Read.
if thou come to serve the Most High,
Go ahead.
prepare thy soul for temptation.
Prepare what?
Thy soul for temptation.
You got to prepare your soul for temptation. What is that temptation for some? Well, I came in with my family. Now my wife don't believe. The temptation is, do I follow my wife or do I follow the scriptures? I came in, me and my husband. Now my husband don't believe. The temptation is, do I stop believing because he don't believe? Or do I believe because I'm trying to serve Christ? That's the temptation. A lot of people, think about it, man. People come in, everything be fine and dandy before they get the truth. As soon as they get the truth, family members start dying. Everybody want to come back in their life. Ailments come that they're all set up to do what? Pull you away, tempt you. Once you get past that first temptation, then you're leveling up. You're moving forward. We're always going to be tempted. But the scriptures say, read it again.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2 and verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Most High,
Go ahead.
prepare thy soul for temptation.
Yeah, you got to prepare yourself. Here's your temptation. What are you going to do? What shall separate me from the love of God or the love of Yahushua? Is it going to be your husband? Is it going to be your job? What is it? Your kids? Who shall separate us from the love of Christ is what it says. Right? So you got to ask yourself, these things are going to pop up. What's going to separate you? What is going to make you throw in the towel? All these things are set up for you to throw in the towel or to fight. So you got to fight. You got to fight. If you want your husband to get on the same page as you, it can happen. But now what does that mean for you? You got to dedicate more. You got to study harder. You got to apply more wisdom. Fasting, prayer, alms. All these things can get you what you want. The Most High wants to give you what you want. He wants to give you a husband that's walking. Amos 3:3. Can two walk together? At least they be in agreement. If the Most High knows your heart, he knows that's what you want. But remember, the Most High said this. Go to reverse 2. Watch, read verse 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 2. Set thy heart aright.
Right, you got to get your mind right and be able to endure this temptation. Go ahead.
And constantly endure.
Yeah, you got to constantly endure the things that are going to try to pull you away from the knowledge. Read.
And make not haste in time of trouble.
Right. Don't wait for trouble to hit. You got to be proactive. Read on.
Cleave unto him.
Cleave unto what?
Cleave unto him.
Yeah, the Most High said cleave unto him. Read.
And depart not away.
Right. You got to cleave unto him and don't depart. This is how you going to get what you want. This is how you get your family. This is how you show your husband that good example of what the truth is. That's all it is, man. A lot of times, like the scriptures say, Jews require a sign. Our people need to see a sign of why you believe. Why are you following that? I mean, it's a good thing. At least if he's still trying, then yeah, you gotta be that example of consistency and diligence and why it's important to fight. You gotta be the example for you, your kids. You gotta do it for your husband until it kicks into him that okay, I gotta be the head of my household. Where we at? I was looking for something. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Hopefully that answers your question. Do me a favor, write down those other 2 questions. Yeah. Listen, the other 2 questions, we're going to hold those. He's going to write them down. Yeah, this was a good one for a class. Is it true that God created himself out of darkness and the section of the black hole a portal to the spiritual heaven? It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that anywhere in the Bible. So, it doesn't say that God created himself out of darkness. So we don't want to add to the scriptures or say, "Con, he didn't know." He didn't. The Bible doesn't say that.
Yeah,
the Bible.
He wasn't created. He just is.
Yeah, the Most High is. He is the power. So think about it. How can you? I mean, it doesn't even sound logical to create yourself. Why would you have to create yourself if you're already there? But anyhow, the scriptures don't. They definitely don't talk about the Most High creating himself out of any black holes or anything like that. So we don't want to speculate. We don't want to elaborate on something that we can't prove scripturally. All right? That question about the spirit and the soul, hold that. We're going to write that down. We're going to come back with some heat on that. Yeah. But what we will do, anybody else got anything before we get into this class?
Lie, sir.
All right, we're going to get into this class. We're going to get in to la clase. Somebody look up the word reverence. Look up the word reverence. Somebody go to Ephesians 5 and verse 33. Ephesians 5 and verse 33. I'm not going to give y'all the title to the class yet. I will give it. But I got some questions before I give you all the title. I'll give you the title and you'll answer my questions based off the title. So I'm not going to give you the title yet, just yet. Somebody look up Reverence. Somebody get Ephesians 5 and verse 33. Hold where you at. Chicago, go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself.
Right, so the scriptures, and there's a lot of scriptures where Paul's telling the husband, love your wife as you love yourself. You ain't gonna starve yourself, you ain't gonna beat yourself, you ain't gonna destroy yourself. So why would you do it to your wife, right? Plenty of scripture. But let's catch this second precept. Read.
And the wife, see that she reverence her husband.
See that she what?
Reverence her husband.
Reverence. Who got the definition? Jeremiah, read that for me. Reverence.
Reverence. A deep respect for someone.
A what?
Deep respect.
A deep respect for someone.
A gesture. Indicative of respect.
Right.
A bow or courtesy.
A bow or courtesy. So the scriptures is telling us that the wives got to make sure that they deeply respect their husbands. Right? I'm going to show you what I got for reverence. Let me know when y'all ready. Say you, say me. Let me know when y'all, let me just switch this over real quick to that. One sec. Display. So that doesn't keep going off. Okay, so for reverence, I have fear mingled with respect. To regard with fear mingled with respect and affection. Y'all with me? So the scriptures is telling us to do what? It's telling the wives to do what? If y'all didn't know, it's going to be a woman's class. If y'all didn't know. If you didn't get it yet, it's going to be a woman's class. So it says what? Read Ephesians 5 and verse 33. One more time. Let's get on track.
Ephesians chapter 5 verse 33.
Come on.
Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself.
Right. Go ahead.
And the wife, see that she reverence.
See that she deeply respects. Go ahead.
Her husband.
Her husband, right? Now, I want to ask y'all sisters a question. Where is respect lost in a relationship? How can you show that you don't respect your husband? What's up, Bree? I mean, because you look like you got the answer. I don't know. I mean, if you don't, it's all good. But I want y'all to think about it. How can respect be lost for your husband? What manner? What way? What do you think? Okay, perfect. When you stop doing 1 Peter 3:1, when you stop being submissive to your husband, mind you, the word submissive is not a negative word, sisters. It's actually a positive word, right? What do you think, Edith? How can you show that you no longer have the full respect, the deep respect for your husband? What are some of the things you can do?
I was going to say when you don't follow his orders.
Right, that's submitting. What else? I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Jocelyn.
Will you step over his toes?
You step over his toes, right? Give me some more on that. How do you step over his toes? What do you do?
Like if he says go left and you go right, and like everybody sees that you don't listen to him.
Right, okay. So he says go left, you go right, right? What else? What Laura, what do you think? What are some ways that you show I'm looking for something? What is a way you can show like I don't respect you. My respect is I'm losing it.
And when you just don't care, you don't care what he thinks, you don't care about his feelings.
How do you show you don't care? Y'all are good. Good answers.
You don't even talk, like you don't communicate.
Okay, along those lines, you don't communicate. Camilla.
Talk back.
You what?
Talk back.
You do what?
Talk back.
You talk back. Okay, we getting on the right track. What do you think, Allison?
You talk back, you push his buttons, you lash out, you don't do anything for him.
Read.
The long
Bring it out.
list.
But no, y'all are on the right path. Last year, what do you think, Shakai?
When it just left me.
It needs to come back to you.
I know. When when the husband is speaking to his wife, and she does not attentively listen to him or give her undivided attention.
Okay.
She's kind of like whatever, nigga.
Right. See, the major thing is the way you show that lack of reverence for your husband or for anybody in that matter is the way you communicate with that person and how you communicate. Because what happens in here? What happens when you step outside the spirit? We're gonna use that. What happens when you need to be corrected? What happens? Or you do something that is a correctable offense? What happens? Go get your Bible. What?
Sharp rebuke.
Sharp rebuke, or even if it's not sharp, but usually it's all right. Go get your scriptures, or the Bible says this, or read this, right? Increased attitude. Ways a wife shows she no longer respects her husband. Increased attitude, care less for his feelings, does less for him, etc. Right on point. But see, we're going to be dealing with communication. So the way you show it is in the way you talk to your husband. So the way you talk to your husband shows your level of reverence for him. The way you communicate with him shows your level of reverence, your level of respect. Some have a deeper respect than others. Some have zero respect. Some sisters' respect is not negative.
I owe you.
It's on, I'm gonna come back to you later. Right? Now, this is where the respect is lost, through communication. But in what type of communication? Your husband corrects you, and then what happens? What happens? Come on.
Get mad.
You get what?
Mad.
Husband corrects you, you get mad. And all he's doing is trying to help you. Husband corrects you, you gets mad. What else? Husband corrects you, what else happens? Don't get shy now. What else happens, Bree? Yeah. You shut down. Right? You don't want to hear it. And every time he comes to you, like, what the hell you coming to me for? What you talking to me for? And then you do a few, either you shut down, you lash out, you talk back, you go crazy, you lose your mind, you get depressed, right? All these different things, instead of just saying, wow, let me just take this correction. Go to Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 3. See, the one thing sisters got to realize is that a man wants to be in a realm where he's respected. A man wants to be in a realm where he feels like he's being respected. Now, if your husband is not getting respect at home from you, guess what he's going to do? he gonna be somewhere else getting that respect. Whether it be around the brothers, if he goes to work and they respect him at work, that's why he spends all his time there. He always working late shifts because he wants to be around. He wants to be around the respect. He wants to know that he's respected as a man. He wants to know that his judgment ain't gonna be back talked and questioned. He wants to know that when he's being talked to, he's not being talked down to. He wants to know all these things. Why? Especially a man that's dealing with wisdom and knowledge. Especially a man that's dealing with wisdom and knowledge. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, he not working the late shift. He just hanging out.
Yeah, he just trying to get away from you, right? So you can title this class. You can title it, "How Do I Talk to My Husband?" How do I talk to my husband? Read that, Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 3.
Ecclesiastes.
Read.
Chapter 20 and verse 3. How good it is when thou art reproved to show repentance.
Wait, to be back talkative?
To show repentance.
To shut down?
To show repentance.
Ah, nigga, I don't want to hear that.
To show repentance.
How good it is when thou art reproved to show repentance. How many of y'all do that off the bat? Or does it take like 1,000 reproofs for you to say, damn, let me humble down? Does it take 1,000 ass whoopings for you to say, oh, you know what, I messed up? Who in here can literally say, you know what, when I'm being corrected, I shut my brain all the way down, listen to what's being said, and I take the correction? Come on, moving on, read on. Read.
For so shall thou escape willful sin.
Thou shalt escape what?
Willful sin.
Where does the willful sin come from? When you disobey 1 Peter 3 and 1. Your husband is saying, listen, we need to do, or you need to do this, and this. Do it like this. And you're like, nah, I ain't doing it like that. Or you're like, whatever. Whatever, nigga. However you want. That willful sin comes in because your mind is no longer able to be guided. So now what happens? You got to learn the hard way. Go to Proverbs 29 and verse 1. Instead of saying, man, let me repent the first time, this is what has to happen. And this is what does happen to sisters. Your husband says, hey, look, you made a mistake on this right here. You know, fix that. And you in your head, you shut down or you get talkative, you lash out, your communication goes super left. So then what has to happen? Proverbs 29 and verse 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 1. He that being often reproved.
See, now you get often reproved. Now everything becomes a check. Everything becomes a, oh, you ain't doing that right. Oh, fix that. Oh, make it like this. Sew it like that. Do the babies like this. Everything becomes a reproof. But what happens? Do you take the reproof? Come, read on.
Harden it his neck.
They do what?
Harden it his neck.
Right, you start to harden your neck. And that hardening of your neck comes in a few different ways. You shut down. You get rebellious, right? You lash out.
You leave.
You do what?
You leave.
Yeah, you leave. And then he hits you up like, where you at? Oh, I'm just going for a walk. Okay, but why? Why are you going for a walk after I correct you? Why all of a sudden you got to go get some fresh air? Because that pride makes you so hot, you got to go cool down. See, you harden your neck and now sit back and evaluate what is being told to me. See, y'all have to stop looking at reproof and correction as a negative. Think about it. Lauren, do you get told by your boss when you do something wrong? Yeah, right? Now, okay, maybe I used the wrong because your boss is whack. But for the most part, the things that he tells you, if you were doing things wrong, wouldn't it be detrimental to your job?
Right. Yeah.
It would be, right? So when he tells you something and it's on point, do you sit there and be like, I don't want to hear that. I ain't trying to listen to that. Or do you sit back and say, okay, he got a point. Let me follow that. Because the job says, do it like the way he's saying. Or do you buck up and get crazy and, nigga, nah, I ain't doing that? Or you shut down like, man, whatever. No, you listen, right? You sit back, you listen, and what you do is you evaluate to see does it apply or does it not? Or do you just buck up right away? Which one? I mean, I know your situation is both with your boss. Again, her boss is very whack. But for the most part, who does that at their job? Your boss comes to you and tells you something, you first evaluate, does it fit me? Is this correction for me? And then if not, you move on. If it don't apply, let it fly. Right? If the shoe fit, wear it. But see, why is it that in the Israelite household, when the husband comes to you with correction, you automatically are on the defense. You're automatically in shutdown mode. You're automatically, nigga, I ain't trying to hear that. I don't want to do that. You automatically in rebuttal. But this is what happens. Read it again. Proverbs 29 and verse 1.
Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 1. He that being often reproved, hardeneth his neck.
Somebody else get Proverbs 15 and verse 10. Go ahead.
Shall suddenly be destroyed.
Wait, what's going to happen?
Be destroyed.
See, this is what we try to prevent sisters, brothers from. From what?
Suddenly be destroyed.
Yeah, we try to prevent our ribs, our wives, brothers, sisters from suddenly being destroyed. Go ahead.
And that without remedy.
Because there's no remedy for that. When the Most High rains down that destruction, there is no remedy. There is no, oh, let me do that again or let me fix that. The Most High is putting out that judgment. Proverbs 15 and verse 10.
Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 10.
Because this is the problem. This is the problem with sisters. This is how y'all look at correction. Read.
Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way.
See, when you forsake the way, the righteous path, correction is what?
Grievous.
Yeah, why me? Why do I got to deal with this? Why do I got to be told? Why is he always correcting me? Why is he always putting me on blast? But that's only because you're forsaking the way, because you don't understand the path. That the way to the kingdom is through correction.
Good.
We all got to deal with it. It ain't just y'all getting corrected, it's brothers too.
Good.
You think that you can just show up to the gates of heaven the way you are? Hell no, there got to be some correction. There got to be some reproof to get some of the old man out of you. Are you going to be 100% the new man when Christ comes? No. But you got to do some work. Think about it. You can't take correction now. You think you're going to be able to take correction when Yahweh Shai come? You're going to say do this and you're going to be like, nigga, please? You're going to rebuttal? You're going to be split in half. Proverbs chapter, read that again. Proverbs 15 and 10. Somebody else get Proverbs 12 and 1.
Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way.
Go ahead.
And he that hateth reproof.
And he that what?
Hateth reproof.
See, a lot of the communication that goes on in the Israelite family between brothers and their wives is reproof and correction. A lot of it, what, 50%? Maybe even 90%? I'm trying to get a sister some credit. Let's say 70%. I'll give y'all some credit. Y'all are not wicked. I mean, come on. But 70% of conversation is, how come you did it that way? How come you didn't do it the way I said? How come you didn't think about this? How come you didn't think about that? Why'd you do that? Why'd you say that? Right? And then it goes in. But correction is grievous to a sister that forsakes the way. Go ahead.
And he that hateth reproof shall die.
What's going to happen?
Shall die.
How do you show that you hate reproof? The rebuttal, the talking back, the shutting down, the lack of communication. Some sisters be lying. Some sisters lie to their husbands. Not no sisters in here though, right? Not you holy and righteous sisters. Y'all don't be lying. But some sisters do. And the sad part is y'all don't think that it's a lie. Hey, babe, how you doing? No. Come on, you know how they do it. Shalom, babe, how you doing?
Fine.
Oh, how was your day?
Fine.
What was wrong?
Nothing.
Oh, okay, well, you're looking kind of down. You okay?
I'm fine.
Oh, right. That's a lie, if y'all didn't know that. So that, because you ain't telling the truth, it's called being deceptive. If y'all didn't know that. And y'all all do it. All of y'all's. All's y'all's.
No, this is just who I am.
Yeah, this is it.
This is just me.
Well, you know, the Bible says that we're supposed to change, right?
God, but this is who I am.
Con, sis. All y'all, that's why you back there laughing, because you know y'all do it. Say, yeah, you don't, and then it turns into, see, you don't love me for me. You're just trying to change me. Damn right.
Oh. Okay, what did I do now? Or, okay, here we go again.
Here we go again. You with that Bible. Go to Proverbs 12 and verse 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Whoso loveth instruction, loveth knowledge.
Right? Whoso loveth what?
Instruction.
Come on.
Loveth knowledge.
Read.
But he that hated reproof.
But see, the sisters that hate reproof, read.
Is brutish.
They're what?
Brutish.
Yeah, you turn to brute beast animals with your husband. He start telling you how to do something, and you just, I don't want to do it. I ain't doing that. Why me? How come? You turn into a brute beast with your words. You turn into an animal. Yeah, and then to avoid correction, y'all start lying, man. Y'all lie about things. To avoid correction, you lie. Because you're dealing with things in your head, psychological, you're dealing with all these spirits, you go to work, you get spiritually attacked, you're getting attacked by Instagram because you're looking at somebody else's life. Like, damn, I want to live like that. You're getting attacked by all the social media, getting depressed because you're not living the life that you see, right? Everybody else is taking vacations and hanging out, and you're just stuck doing the truth. Woe is me. I got to be stuck doing the Bible, right? So you get all these demons, or you got to be stuck raising your children. You got to be stuck taking care of your husband. You got to be stuck doing righteousness. And you're like, why me? I could be in Miami right now. I could be somewhere else right now. So then what happens? You start getting depressed. You start getting all quiet. Your husband's like, hey, what's going on? Nothing. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm a little depressed because of blah, 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 blah. Or, you know, I'm a little agitated because of this. You straight up lie and say nothing. When clearly it's something. Right? Bree, right? Huh? Camila, right? Con, okay. Sometimes I'll take sometimes. That means it happens. Laura, right? Con. Come on, man. We all grown adults here, right? Let's put on our big boy pants and let's own up to what's going on. Read Proverbs 12 and verse 1 more time.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 1. Whoso loveth instruction, loveth knowledge.
Right?
But he that hateth reproof is brutish.
He that hateth reproof is brutish. And how does your brutishness, what does it turn into? It turns into a lot of things. But it comes out in your communication with your husband. The way you deal with him. The way you talk to him. The way you answer him. Ephesians 4 and verse 25. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 25.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 25.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, putting away lying.
Put away what?
Lying.
Read.
Speak every man truth with his neighbor.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with me, but deep down inside, you're destroying. Deep down inside, you're like a burning building. You're like the Empire State Building, or the World Trade Center waiting to implode. Stop lying, man. Stop it. Y'all do things. Your husband will correct you, and then you'll just disappear out the house. All of a sudden, you're taking a walk. He comes downstairs. He don't see you. He hits you up. Where you at? I just went for a walk. Wow, what's up? You good? Yeah, I'm good. But you're not good. You're not good because there's something on your mind, and you're not being respectful enough to let it out. You're not being respectful enough to your husband to see that, you know what? This is a man of wisdom. He can handle my problems. You're not being respectful enough. Some of y'all don't have the respect for your husband, and you don't take him serious. But you haven't even tried to put him to the test. Put the wisdom to the test. Some of y'all just take one bad example and just run with it. Like, yeah, see, he didn't take me serious the first time, so he'll never take me serious. No, put him to the test. Keep putting him to the test. Don't become a liar. Read on.
For we are members one of another.
Right, because we're supposed to be here for each other. Go to Proverbs 6 and verse 16. What?
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 16.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is another thing. But I got like all those. Yeah, I'm just saying. I just picked out the ones that. Proverbs 6 and verse 16.
These 6 things doeth the Lord hate.
Right?
Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him.
Go ahead.
A proud look.
Read.
A lying tongue.
Yeah, some of y'all just be proud as hell. Why are you lying? Why you communicate ill to your husband? You be proud. Nothing. I'm good, nigga. Y'all have that. It's like I can handle it all on my own. You know what I'm talking about. Be proud as hell and just be lying. What does that do for the respect level of your husband? What does that do for his communication towards you? I'll tell you what it does. Nobody wants to communicate with that. I don't want to talk to somebody that's always like, oh, I'm good, nothing, I'm good, and clearly you're not. Because then what does it do? It makes your husband say, well, fine, if you good, if you feel like you can deal with your problems on your own, deal with them. But then what has to happen? Then you got to go through. Most High got to whoop you a little bit, beat on you, kick your skull in, and then who got to come back and repair you? The same one that you denied. The same husband that you said, nope, you're not good enough to help me. Now he got to come and treat you like Humpty Dumpty. Pick you up, glue you together, rub you on your back. Yeah, babe, it'll be okay. Where it didn't have to be all that. You didn't have to get destroyed. All you had to do was to say, look, I'm dealing with this right here. What it does, it helps to build proper communication between the husband and the wife. It helps to build that respect. The sad part is y'all be like, nah, I'm good. When your husband comes to you, oh, I'm good. But then you'll go run to a sister and be like, girl, you know, this is what's going on with me today. You'll be so quick to do that, but not come to your husband and then he got to hear from secondhand parties of what's going on with you. That's terrible. Y'all got to understand, what does that do for a man? It definitely don't instill in him the confidence.
Especially if he's young, if he's of a junior mind or a young mind state, and he's trying to he's young and trying to deal with his wife in that fashion, in the right way, it makes him not want to deal with you. Just on that, like,
Yeah, it's like you shut me out, so I'm gonna shut you out.
Right.
And then it's like zero communication in the household.
And then you get mad when he doesn't talk to you, but you're the one who shunned him away from talking to you.
He always ignores me. Yeah, because when I asked you how you're doing,
you gave me the BS. You gave me that bullshit, BS answer, like everything was good.
You lied. Yeah, we gonna call it what it is. You lied.
Right.
Read on.
And hands that shed innocent blood. Verse 18. A heart that devises wicked imaginations.
That's it. So a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. Proverbs 26 and verse 28 is avoiding the argument by staying quiet worse than allowing the issue to escalate into a full-blown argument or fight. Well, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I like that question. It will be answered in the class. Because there's a reason why things turn into arguments and fights. There's a way to escalate and de-escalate a conversation. Conversations go from arguments because they're being escalated into an argument. You don't just see your husband and just start arguing off the bat. Hey, babe. No, it don't work like that. Y'all start talking, having a conversation, and then what happens is contention starts to build up. Contention starts to build, and then it goes into an argument. Why? Because you don't want to have the last, you don't want him to have the last say. You don't want to go with the counsel.
You didn't like that answer.
You didn't like the answer he gave. You didn't like the counsel that was given. You don't like what he's saying. You don't like the correction. Somebody got to humble down. Somebody got to take low. See, some sisters in here don't want to take low. They're prideful as hell. Some sisters are like, why I got to take low? Because you were commanded to. That's why. I mean, y'all want me to show you all the scriptures that say that you're supposed to take low? 1 Peter 3:1, automatic. Submit to your husband. He ain't telling you to do nothing wicked. If you're arguing, I can see if you're arguing about the schedule you got to be on to go strip, then that's a problem. If you're arguing about how he gonna make you be a mule to haul some crack across the border, hell yeah, argue about that. But if the argument is about getting you right, the kids right, and keeping the household floating, there shouldn't be an argument. There shouldn't be an argument. If you're arguing about spending money as opposed to spending money on bills, and he's arguing with you about that because you just spend ridiculously, and then when it comes time to bills, you ain't got the money, you need to shut up and humble down. That shouldn't be an argument. That shouldn't be an argument. If there's an argument about how to take care of the kids and you don't know what the hell you're doing, you need to submit to your husband. Go ahead.
It's kind of a rhetorical question, but I don't know if sisters are aware that men are put in the same predicament that they require from their ribs, excluding like sleeping together intimately.
Oh yeah, brothers are put in the same position. Yeah, brother.
I mean, men.
We as men are put in the same position as women, as far as
being humble, taking orders, taking advice. Why'd you do this? Grab your scriptures. Drop. Why are you reading the scriptures? Read this and do this and do this. Like the same thing we require of our wife. We don't even give them a fraction of what we have to do it, but we do it in the same unity. God. Like if I ask my rib to make a sandwich, grab me a sandwich.
I always talk about sandwiches. Go ahead.
Grab me a sandwich.
Every example is about a sandwich. Scott loves sandwiches. Go ahead, read. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
If I ask my rib to grab me a sandwich and hook a back rub up, right? Then please believe that I've done the same thing several times over for another man. Several times. There's been times my priest's back was hurting, I hit him with a back rub. His feet was messed up, hit him with a foot rub. Went in the kitchen, cooked his food up, ironed his clothes, washed his clothes, drew his bath water.
I've seen it. We've all done it.
We've done it for each other numerous amount of times. There's no, this nigga lazy as hell. Can't draw his own bath water. can't iron his own clothes. That doesn't go through that man's mind doing it for that man.
Cooking breakfast for brothers.
Yeah.
When we go to especially when we go to the fairs and stuff, and there's just 3 brothers in the room. Remember, I was cooking breakfast for brothers and
You did that.
making smoothies and
You did that.
right
Salads.
salads and chopping. Oh yeah, we went to Trinidad. Brothers is like spending 50 man hours chopping, just chopping up tomatoes but there was no, why I gotta do that? Why me? How come? Hey, we all gotta eat a salad, man. Somebody gotta chop it. But the point is that he's trying to make is that sisters act like they're put in a position that that as husbands and brothers we're not put in. We're put in the same position. If y'all went through half the things that we went through, y'all come on. Y'all wouldn't even be sitting here, man. If y'all had to do half of what what brothers got to do with brothers. But let's jump back. Where we at?
Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 28.
Go ahead.
A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it.
See, when you lie to your husband, you hate him. Truthfully. You don't care about his well-being. You don't care about his mental status. You don't care about his encouragement as a man. Read it again.
A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it.
Right, because when you when you lie to your husband, you don't care about how he feels about it. Or when you lie to anybody at that matter, you don't care. You don't care about how they're affected. Read on.
And a flattering mouth worketh ruin.
Go to Psalms 5 and verse 6. Psalms 5 and verse 6. Somebody else get Psalms 120 and verse 2.
Psalm chapter 5, verse 6.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing.
Leasing, lies. The definition of leasing is lies. Come on.
The Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man.
Yeah, because you are deceitful in dealing with your husband. You don't want to practice deception when it comes to dealing with your husband, because that's going to break down the respect that he has for you and that you should have for him. That right there shows the lack of respect. What's up, Bree? You got something on your mind? What you want to say?
Like, what if you lose the respect for your husband because he doesn't respect you?
You said, what if you lose the respect for your husband because he doesn't respect you? Well, see, where is the respect lost, though? This is what we're going over. Where has the respect been lost? It's been lost through, and this is just one aspect, but it's been lost through communication. It's been lost through, okay, babe, we're going to do it like this. And you're like, nope, I ain't doing that. Nope, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go move over here. I'm going to take the kids and leave. Hey, we need to, man, there's so many examples.
Now, you know you're supposed to wear a head cover. Well, no, I don't need. I ain't gonna wear no head cover.
Head cover, dress. What? No.
Dress. You want me to do what?
See, it starts with small things, and then it builds up to where it's like, husband comes home, he don't even talk to you, because it's like, I've been asking you to do so many of the small things, and you've been fighting, rebuttaling, lying, to the point where it's like, I ain't asking you to do a damn thing. Just cook for me, clean, and I don't even care if you do that. So you got to reestablish that respect. How? You got to you got to get back consistent on doing your duty. It always stems back to each other's duty. Your duty is not contingent on what your husband does. His duty is not contingent on what you do. A man is a man without a woman, and a woman is a woman without a man. A woman could be a wife without literally having a husband. Because what is a wife? What is a wife? A wife is determined on what she's doing. You see that? Jocelyn, you got a question?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what is
What scripture you at?
The last,
Deceitful?
Deceitful. What is deceitful?
When you deceit, or you let's look it up. Let's get a definition of deceitful. D-E-C-E-I-T. Yeah, deceit. What you got? Deceit. You gotta put yeah. You gotta put. Somebody get that for me. What you got, Jeremiah?
Deceiving or misleading others.
Misleading. So when you mislead a person. So again, I'm gonna keep using the example. You come home from work, you had a terrible day. You look like you had a terrible day. Your husband sees that you had a terrible day. Hey babe, what's going on? Nothing. How you feeling? Good. You just deceived him and into thinking that you had a good day. So, because what is he gonna do if he ain't looking? He just gonna be like, oh, she had a good day. Keep it moving. My babe's fine, right? And then next thing you know, your whole day gets spilled to him by somebody else. Camila.
What if your husband is that way? Like, what if you can tell that something is not right, and you ask him, so what's going on? I'm fine.
Right.
Nothing.
Now, let me ask you this. Can you counsel your husband?
No.
So, a lot of things, sometimes he has to tell you, no, I'm good.
Well, that's lying as well.
Well,
Like, he can't tell me something's bothering me, but I'm handling or I'm talking.
he can say that. Yeah, that's the way to deal with that. That would be the proper way to deal with that. So, yeah, we don't want to, none of us should be in the practice of just flat out, blatantly, oh, I'm good when I'm not. Hey, I'm dealing with some stuff, but I'm handling it. Or I'm dealing with something, counseling with the bros. A lot of times we just don't want to put the spirits that we're dealing with onto y'all. The scriptures say, dwell with them as the weaker vessel. So if you're the weaker vessel, I can't put my load on you as well as your own load. You'll crack.
Right.
But again, we don't want to get into the habit of just flat out lying to one another. You're right. I'll give you that. Right? I'll give you that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be in that habit, either parties. Because what does it do for the woman on the other hand? It makes her less of a value, or makes her feel less valued as that pillar of rest.
You don't want to tell me nothing, so why should
Right.
I tell him?
But that's the thing. The scriptures say what though? The scriptures say, render not evil for evil. Again, just because we
It goes two ways.
it does, but this is the thing. I'm gonna keep saying it. Your righteousness is not contingent on forget about husband and wife. Am I supposed to be righteous because he's righteous? No, right? Because when Yahushua comes and says, okay, boom, what did you do? Is he going to say, well, can my excuse be, well, Ariel was off, so I didn't see the point? No. Let every man be convinced in his own mind, right? So your role should not change because of what anybody else is doing. He that knoweth to do good and do it not, it's sin unto him. So if you know that I need to communicate in a better way, and you don't do it, that's on you. That ain't on him or her or anybody else. But you're right. The scriptures say, lie not one to another, because we're members of another. So we should not be in the practice of deceitfully trying to avoid things. Hey, yeah, I'm dealing with something. I got to get better at that. I ain't gonna lie. I'm the one that's like, man, you can't deal with this right now. I don't want to put this on you. You got enough that you're dealing with? I'm good. A lot of times when I say I'm good, I am good. I just have the sometimes you have that look of not being good. But see, the problem is, the difference is y'all don't be good. Let's be real. Y'all don't be good. You know how? Because it comes out later. That's the thing. When I say I'm good, my whole day don't come out later, and then my rib is like, damn, you really weren't that good. Whereas opposed to y'all, sisters, no, I'm good. And then you bend off down the block, go take some mysterious walk, then it comes out later 8 weeks later in class that, yeah, I took that walk because what he said to me was, it just blew my mind and I had to go walk it off. But I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to go through the whole check process and the reproof and the correction. So I just left it alone. That's how it goes. Because y'all deal in a different, y'all deal different. Y'all deal different. We as men, I can't offload onto my rail. Some things, yeah, like, hey, check, you know, but I can't give her my full weight. She got enough that she's dealing with. And I gotta be in wisdom and understand that. Like, I can't offload this demon on her. She'll crack, you know? But yeah, you're right. We gotta be better at being more honest. Even if you're dealing with something, there's ways. Yeah, I'm dealing with something, but you know, I'm counseling with bros. You know, that's the way you deal with that. Where we at?
Psalms chapter 5, verse 6.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt destroy them.
Go to Psalms 120 and verse 2.
The book of Psalms, chapter 120.
And I'm dealing with this lying topic. Not saying that sisters are blatant, just full out liars and deceitful, but the way you communicate and not being honest at all times, as far as when you are dealing with things, it comes off that way. So y'all gotta understand, I'm not sitting here saying that y'all are just liars and you can't be trusted and you just garbage. But subconsciously and ignorantly, we do these things, and this is what the Bible defines it as. Go ahead, read.
The book of Psalms, chapter 120 and verse 2.
Deliver
my soul, O Lord, from lying lips.
Read.
And from a deceitful tongue.
Right, yeah. This is what, no man wants to be around this. No man wants to be around deceitfulness and a lying tongue. Go ahead. Psalms 120 and verse 2.
Verse 3. What shall be given unto thee?
Or
what shall be done unto thee? Thou false tongue.
Yeah. What shall be done? What's going to be given to you? Well, whatever you get is going to be in deceit. Go to Ephesians 4 verse 22. Actually, go to Revelation 22 and 15. Because this is what happens. This is what we're trying to prevent from happening. Verse 14, Revelation 22 and 14.
The book of Revelations, chapter 22 and verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments.
Go ahead.
That they may have right to the tree of life.
And what does the commandment say? Lie not one to another. Go ahead.
And may enter in through the gates into the city.
For
without are dogs.
For without are what?
Are dogs.
Read.
And sorcerers.
And what?
And sorcerers.
Come on.
And whoremongers.
Read.
And murderers.
Read on.
And idolaters. And whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Right. See, these are the things that are not going to make it into the kingdom. You know, I know y'all are thinking like, well, it's not that big of a deal if I just tell my husband nothing's wrong with me. It's not that big of a deal if I don't communicate the right way. It's that big of a deal. Because what is the woman's role? Can I ask y'all a question? Do y'all know that y'all have like ultimate control? Do y'all know that? And when I say ultimate control, let me preference my words. You have control of this, and we say it a lot. You sisters have the control of the spirit in your house. You determine what that day is going to be like. So when I say you have ultimate control, you have ultimate control. Because your husband, let me ask you a question. Because your husband comes home pissed off, does that mean that it has to be a bad night? No, right? Because your husband comes home happy doesn't mean it's going to be a good night. What is it all determined on? The what? The woman. It's determined on y'all. And your responses to things and your attitude towards things. I ain't come home in the best of mood. I ain't come home in the best of mood, and guess what? By the time it's time to lay down, I ain't want to look at my rib. Because of the way she answers things. Because of the way she says things. It could be a turnoff. To where you're like, damn, why you gotta say that like that? Why you gotta talk like that? Or why you gotta answer like that? You could be in a great mood and that the whole mood is just killed because of the response. Because of there's a lack of certain things that happen. Lack of encouragement, right? Lack of meaningful communication. Go to Proverbs 24 and verse 3. Because what is a woman supposed to do in her house? What is a woman's role ultimately in her house? I'm gonna tell you, the white woman does it spectacularly. Esau and all these other nations do it to their husbands spectacularly. When he's down in the dumps, when he's broken down, what do they do to him? Ah, you ain't crap. Da, 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 da. No, they don't do that. What do? Oh, you went out, you look for, he ain't got no job, he's broke as hell. What do? Oh, baby, it'll be all right. The world just don't know what kind of gift they're not dealing with right now. What does she do? She encourages him, rubs his back, right? Make sure that he's attended to. Make sure that when he comes home after fighting the world, he don't got to come home to an argument. They do it so well, especially them women with money. When they husbands, the women whose husbands got dough, they will bend over backwards for that man. It might not even be out of love. It might be out of, I don't want to lose a good situation. They still do it. How much more for a man that's trying to operate with you righteously? He ain't running around screwing everything. He ain't trying to bend you over and make you snort coke. He ain't trying to pimp you. How about much more for that? He done went street speaking. He done taught class, right? Sat up, taught class. Went out in the hot sun, street speaking. Arguing with folks out in the streets. Battling them demons. Battling the demons that he got on himself. And then he got to come home and battle with you. It's like, damn, when does he get a break? When does he get a rest? Brothers working the mall all day just battling demons. These spirits all day. Right? He got to battle all the everything. He got to battle the lust of the flesh. Whether it be the booties that walk by, the food, feet hurt, head hurt, back hurt, knees giving out. Right? And then he got to come home to be trodden down even more with words. He got to come home to be beat down with lack of enthusiasm.
Cold shoulder.
Cold shoulder. Lack of empathy, lack of care.
Nonchalant attitude.
Nonchalantness. We get it. We know sisters y'all are dealing with y'all's stuff. But see, the problem is you make it your battle when it doesn't have to be. You make everything personal when it doesn't have to be. I'd rather come home, listen, I'd rather battle all day in them streets, come home and have and battle with my rib as far as how do we fight together the things that you're dealing with. I'll sit up for that. I'll go through scriptures on that, like, oh yeah, well babe, you know what? Go here, do this, do that. Oh yeah, and this. I want to do the encouraging. But if my thing is, man, you off, go here, go, that gets tiresome. It gets tiresome to have to deal with a person that negative outlook, talking down. No, the scriptures say hope for the good, but you always got the negative. Nothing ever is gonna work because you don't see the way. It's like there ain't no way that's gonna happen. Woe is me, I give up. Because you forsake the way, it's like, yeah, I don't see how that's going. Nope. There's no positivity. Read Proverbs 24 and verse 3.
Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 3. Through wisdom is an house built.
Through what?
Wisdom is an house built.
If y'all want to know what a woman is supposed to do, read it again.
Through wisdom is an house built.
Come on.
And by understanding is it established.
Read on.
And by knowledge shall the chamber be filled with all precious riches.
See, wisdom builds a house. A woman's wisdom is going to build her house. Wisdom in what? The way she communicates. Understanding in what? Understanding her husband and how to communicate. Knowledge in what? Knowing when to communicate and what to come to him with at what time. See, all these things are very important. Read it again.
At 3.
Read from the top at 3, and somebody else get Proverbs 16 and 24.
Through wisdom is an house built, and by understanding is it established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches.
But how do you get to the point where we understand each other, where we know each other? We got to communicate on the level of you're willing to listen, you're willing to hear, you're willing to understand that it's my time to talk. Now it's your time to talk, but not like in a brute beast animalistic manner, trying to usurp the authority and take charge at every whim. Or you want to be the docile, woe is me, I don't care, just do it how you want type of woman. That ain't wisdom. But that's why the house don't get built the way it should. That's why there's so much, you know what's crazy? I don't want to say that there's division in the household, but there's cracks in the armor. There's definite chinks in the armor. If your husband don't want to come home certain days because he can just feel your vibe over the phone when he talks to you, you gotta check that. You gotta check that and see, what are you kicking off to your husband? Is it wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? Or is it deceit, lies, backbiting, trying to beat him down, tongue lashing? Proverbs 16 and verse 24.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 24.
Go ahead.
Pleasant words
or
as in honeycomb.
Wait, they're what?
As in honeycomb.
What are we talking about?
Pleasant words.
Read.
Or as in honeycomb.
Go ahead.
Sweet to the soul.
They're what?
Sweet to the soul.
Go ahead.
And health to the bones.
Is your husband healthy? Is his bones brittle? When he stands up, is he ready to cave in? Because ain't no pleasant words being spoken to him. Listen, I'm not saying a gas up session. I ain't talking about that. Like, oh, baby, you so handsome when he's not. That ain't what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm. Come on, this is him handsome. Him handsome. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when this man got the world on his shoulders and you damn well know it. He goes out there. Some men deal in, I mean, when you look at it, we all deal in Esau society of being ridiculed, being belittled, being looked at like we ain't nothing. Then I gotta come home and be treated like that? Just in the way you talk, a man can feel that. He can feel that lack of respect. He can feel that belittlement. He can feel that lack of reverence. Just in the way you talk to him. Just in the way you respond. Just in your facial expressions. Hey, babe, can you make me something to eat? Make it what? Something to eat. Oh, yeah. Why'd you make me go sit down? Why didn't you tell me when I was already standing up? Like, what? Well, bruh, I'm hungry now. When you were standing up, I wasn't hungry. I'm sorry. But does it make a difference whether you were standing or sitting? Or are you here to build your house? Please your husband? I'll never say that to him. I don't never give that. I've never given that answer. Like, why didn't you say that when I was standing up? You know, you in the kitchen, and you get your little food, and you come to sit down, your ribs like, oh, babe, how come you didn't grab me one? It's like, oh, okay, let me go get that for you. Or you didn't say nothing, but I'll go get it for you. But it's like, the opposite is, your rib comes, she's in the kitchen, she comes, hey, damn, I want one of those. Oh, why'd you wait till I sat down?
Or the silence.
And the arms start swinging all retarded, right? You running in the walls because you mad. Back there cracking up because you know I'm right. You know I'm right. You start storming off. This nigga, man, why you know I was in the kitchen. You knew you could have asked me to get that when I was in the kitchen. You waited until I was sitting down. Or you waited until I would start watching my favorite show. Give a damn. Read it again. Read it again. Proverbs 16 and verse 24.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 16.
Somebody else, go ahead.
Verse 24.
Somebody else get Proverbs 12 and 18.
Pleasant words
are
as in honeycomb.
Go ahead.
Sweet to the soul.
Right. How's your husband? Is your husband looking forward to hearing you speak? Or is he just ready to shut you down as soon as you open your lips? Is he looking forward to the wisdom you're going to kick off? Or all you doing is coming to him with nonsense? Are your words pleasant? Are they uplifting? Wisdom buildeth their house. What words are you kicking off? Are you breaking the house? Or are you building? Go ahead.
And health to the bone.
Proverbs 12 and 18.
Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 18. There is that speaketh. There is that speaketh like the piercing of a sword.
Yeah, some of y'all, the things that come out of your mouth, it's like a piercing sword. You just cutting your husband to the heart. The way you talk and the way you respond and react. It's terrible. But that's an unwise woman. You're not here to build him, break him down. You're here to build. I ain't gonna lie. There was a time when I was like this. I'd say things. Ooh, daggers to the heart. But I had to learn that, you know, when they say sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We know that's a damn lie, because read it again.
There is that speaketh like the piercing of a sword.
Yeah, it's worse than stones. It's worse than sticks. It's like being pierced. When the wrong thing is said, those unpleasant words get tossed out, and they rip through you, and you got to stand there and eat that. You just like, damn, you just gonna talk like that? You just gonna call me a nigga, huh? You just gonna call me boy, huh? Or you just gonna react? You just gonna rebuttal all the way to the kingdom, huh? And reject. Huh? Oh, you just gonna call me lazy, huh? You gotta see it. Read on.
But the tongue of the wise is health.
But the tongue of what?
The wise is health.
Yeah, how healthy is your relationship with your husband? I judge that on communication. The health of relationship, I judge on communication and what we can communicate about. There should be no stone left unturned. Especially, come on, man, some of the relationships in this camp, they've been around for ages. There's the majority of brothers in the camp got 10 plus years with their ribs. 10 plus years. So why is the brother not wanting to hear what his rib got to say after 10 years? Because it's not bringing health to his bones. It's really ripping him down. It's really piercing his spirit to where he don't want to deal with that. Go to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 2. This is how when you talk, this is what should happen. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 2. I like this scripture. Deuteronomy 2 and verse 2.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 2.
Go ahead, read. You got it.
My doctrine shall drop as the rain.
Go ahead.
My speech shall distill as the dew.
Wait, my speech should just come out and just be just wild and crazy?
Shall distill as the dew.
Y'all ever see in the grocery store, in the vegetable aisle, when the vegetables are being misted so gently by the water to keep them nice and fresh? Yeah, you just hear tss, and the vegetables are being watered, they're being nourished. It says, my doctrine shall drop as rain, my speech shall distill as the dew. Meaning it's going to come out nice and soft. Read on.
As the small rain upon the tender herb.
But some of y'all, your speech comes out like hail. It comes out like brimstone and fire. And it drops on the top of your husband's head. Right? It drops on the baldness right here, right in the crown of his head. And it's like a hammer driving him into the damn ground. Where he's like, wow. Why does she talk like that? Why does she respond like that? Some of y'all's responses, man, to the things that you're, yeah, I ain't doing that. Just like blatant and outlandish. Yeah, I ain't gonna make him no garment because I don't like him. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You ain't gonna make him a garment because you don't like him. He don't communicate with me, so guess what? I ain't gonna do nothing for him. Oh, I ain't gonna clean the house because I don't like him. No, he don't communicate with me, so I ain't cleaning up and I ain't cooking for him. And we'll say it proudly like that's the thing to do. It's like, what are you talking about? Read it again.
Done. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 2. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall distill as the dew. As the small rain upon the tender herb.
See, like small rain upon a tender herb. Go ahead.
As the showers upon the grass.
Right. But y'all come with the flood. Y'all come with Noah's flood on the tender herb. Because why? You don't know when to say, you don't know when to say what to say. You don't know when is the right moment to speak, when the right moment not to speak. You speak out of turn. You speak too loud. You say that you speak rashly. Y'all don't think before you speak. Why do you think your husband blocks your opinion? Why do you think he's like, nope, I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it. I don't want to hear you. Why do you think that happens? Why do you think he don't come to you for advice? Why do you think he don't come to you and say, hey, babe, what you think? Because when you had that privilege, what did you do? He gave you the time to talk. He let you come, right? He might have even went with your idea. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. That might have happened a few times, and then what happened? Now the situation happens again, and he's like, okay, we're gonna do it my way. And you're like, well, my way is the best way, and we need to do it my way. See, you never follow me. You never listen. But we did it your way 50 million other times. The one time I say, let's do it my way, it's a problem. So now what has to happen? We ain't gonna ask your way. We don't want your opinion. We don't want your wisdom. Because you didn't understand that it wasn't supposed to be your way every time. And when you were told that, what happened? Rebuttal. Reject the counsel. You get mad. You yell. You scream. You shut down. You communicate the wrong way. Proverbs 23 and verse 16. Proverbs 15 and 26. Y'all with me so far, right? Con. What is the proper way to approach your husband when he is wrong? Female. If the females are emotional, of the emotional sex and the weaker. If the females are the emotional sex and the weaker vessel, How are we supposed to vent when we are upset without upsetting their husband according to Scripture? Well, just because you're a female doesn't mean you have to be emotional. If you're being emotional, that means you're not operating in the Spirit. You're not applying the Bible.
Right.
So that's first and foremost. We can't use, oh, I'm a female, I'm emotional. Yes, you are the weaker vessel. Now, there is a difference between venting and just outright just talking out of turn. And your husband has to recognize that. Like, I mean, I'd rather my rib vent and get it out. Vent, get it out, and then we go from there. See, if you're able to vent, and then now, you got to remember, if you're venting, you're letting everything out. Right? You're just letting everything come out of your mouth. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't get corrected, the things that you say wrong. You can vent all day, but if you're saying the wrong things, expect that when you vent to be corrected. That's the problem, where you vent, and then you think that, oh, I vented, that's it. We're done now. No, you have to, after you talk, you vented, right? Now you got to let your husband be able to say, okay, well, that was right. That was right. Yeah, you got a point there, but that was wrong. If you can't get to the point where now you got to be corrected, because that's where it happens, where now it's time for you to be corrected and shown what you were venting about. This is how we fix it. This is your mind state was wrong. The way you approached it was wrong. But what happens when it's time, when you're being shown like, no, well, the way I see it and the way I want to do it, that's what happens. So your vent session becomes you just talking, and then when your husband is trying to put everything back in line, you don't want to hear that. But again, that question is going to be more further answered as we go on. Go to Proverbs 15 and verse 26. Good questions. If y'all got questions in here, ask. What's up, Bree? On the topic. What's up?
What if you're trying to, when you try to come to your husband and vent, and their response is just nonchalant, there's no going to the scriptures or anything?
You go to your husband to vent, and their answer is nonchalant. As in, like, I don't want to hear that.
As in, all that's messed up, and leave it at that. All that's messed up.
You might have to ask, hey, what scripture can I go to? What scripture can I go to for this problem? See, a lot of the times, and I get it, the sisters look towards their husbands for the answer. It speaks sign language, you gotta deal with that. Sisters look for their husbands. Pay attention to me. Sisters look for their husbands for the answers. So again, you gotta challenge that wisdom and say, hey, I'm looking for an answer. What you got for me? So now you gotta say that. Hey, what scripture can I go? Hey, babe, I'm having this problem. Right? You reel off all your issues. What scripture can I go to for this? What scripture can I go to for this? What scripture can I go to for that? Sometimes you got to reformulate your question. Ask your questions in a different way where now a scripture has to come. You see that? If you're just venting just to vent, and he's like, oh, that's messed up, then you might have to come back and say, well, what scripture can I go to deal with that? You see what I'm saying? So there's ways. Because then, oh, that's messed up is not the answer for everything. And it can't be. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta, hey, well, I was having this problem. Where is that in the Bible at? Where is that in the Bible? And go from there. Where we at? Proverbs 15.
Chapter 15 and verse 26.
Who got Proverbs 23 and 16?
God.
Read that.
Proverbs chapter 23, verse 16.
Yet
my reins shall rejoice
Yea, my reins shall rejoice. Go ahead.
When thy lips speak right things.
Yeah, your husband rejoices when you speak the right things at the right time. His heart rejoices. He's happy. Like, damn, that was on point, sis. He come home from a long day, and you ain't ready to just sit there and just have an attitude with him because you didn't like his answer to something. Or you didn't like something that he did when he walked. He might walk in, long ass day, out there in the streets, 110 degrees, whole body is just sweaty. He might walk right in and just drop his books. Why you gotta drop your books like that? Because I've been standing for like 10 hours? That's why. Because I'm at home and you're here to help me? That's why I gotta drop my books like that. Because you're here to be that help. You're here to catch them books. Now, why you gotta drop your books like that? And then what does that do? Turns into an argument. Because as soon as you say that to me, I'm like, oh, you don't get it. What do? I go right into book mode. By myself. Oh, you don't get it. And guess what I'm not gonna do? I ain't arguing. I'm not fighting. I don't like to argue no more. I used to debate and argue. These days, bro, I just get more Bible in my head. Because that arguing, that going back and forth over the dumbest things, over things that y'all should already know, we ain't gonna argue about that. I'm not. I'm gonna just move on and let you figure it out as we go. So y'all gotta understand that the control of the house is on y'all. The spirit is determined by you and your reaction and action. The way you speak. Go to Proverbs 15 and verse 26.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 26. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Most High.
Go ahead.
But the words of the pure are pleasant words.
Right, but why do sisters not speak pleasant and pure words? Go to Titus 1 and 15. This is why. Why don't sisters speak pleasantly to their husbands? Read.
The book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 15. Unto the pure, all things are pure.
Go ahead.
But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving.
Yeah, a lot of y'all don't believe. A lot of y'all don't believe in the method. A lot of y'all don't believe in your husband's method, in his logic, in his reasoning. A lot of y'all don't believe in the scriptures. A lot of y'all don't believe like this is the way to Christ. Because in your head, you're like, damn, why I gotta do it like this? So what happens is, in your head, the why, and then you confront your husband in a different situation, in a different way, challenging. Because why? Read it again.
The book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 15. Unto the pure, all things are pure.
Right, because you're not looking at things with a pure outlook. You're not looking at things from a pure mind state. You're looking at things from a, why me? Why do I got to go through this? Why do I got to do this? Why do I got to be here? Why do I got to be the one to get my Bible? Why I always got to get my Bible? Why I always got to be off? Why you the one that's always on point? How come you can do this the way you want to do it, but I can't do what I want to do? It's all these whys and not looking at things through a pure mindset of, well, wives, be subject to your husbands. What I'm doing for Christ. Whatsoever you do, do it heartily, not unto man, but unto the Lord. That's where the mind has to be. You make your husband a headband, and he's like, well, fix this, 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 and this, and then you get an attitude. It's like, wait a minute, but you made me the headband. Why you gonna get mad when I try to add improvements to it? Yeah, I'll fix it. Come on, bro. Like, don't ruin your good works. Don't ruin your good gesture by having an attitude because your husband was like, well, add this to it because of this reason. But see, the problem is what? Read it again. Just read it.
Unto the pure, all things are pure.
Go ahead.
But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving,
read,
is nothing pure.
Yeah, y'all lack pureness. So your pure outlook is gonna, your impure outlook is gonna bring impure words, defiled words. That's what makes you sound and look like a brute beast animal. Now we're understanding why your husband doesn't take your opinion. Because you know why? You guys don't know how to couple wisdom with the words you speak. You don't know how to put wisdom in situations that are needed. Wisdom is needed in every situation. But you don't sit back and look and say, damn, let me calculate what I'm about to say before I let it just run out of my damn lips. Let me calculate and think about what I'm going to say before I just blab my mouth. Go to Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 7. I'm going to show you why your husband belittles your opinion. I'm going to show you why your husband don't come to you for counsel and doesn't consort with you on matters and just does things himself. He might have at one point, but then he learned, like, nah, I can't deal with you. This is why. Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 7.
Go ahead.
A wise man will hold his tongue.
No, 20 and verse 27.
Okay.
Slack.
A wise man shall promote himself to honor with his words.
With his what?
With his words.
So if you can promote yourself to honor with your words, you can damn sure demote yourself to dishonor with them same words. Read.
And he that had understanding will please great men.
Right, and your understanding of how to use your words, when to use your words, will please your husband. It'll be pleasing to your husband. You gotta ask yourself, when I speak, does my husband want to hear it? Am I pleasing to hear? Or is he ready to shut me down as soon as I open my mouth because I talk bad? I'm rude. Some of y'all are just rude as hell. Ain't got no manners. Cut him off in the midst of his speech. Rebuttals. You speak with anger and hate. You speak with resentment towards your husband. You speak as one trying to steal his power over the household, because he does have the ultimate power over the household, but you try to take that by the way you talk and belittle and downgrade him. Go to verse 20. Just read it. Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 20.
A wise sentence shall be rejected when it cometh out of the mouth of a fool.
Read it one more time.
A wise sentence shall be rejected.
Yeah, you might be coming with the wisdom. You might have something wise to say on the situation. But it gets what?
Rejected.
Read.
When it cometh out of a fool's mouth.
Yeah, because your husband has dealt with the foolish back talk, the foolish tongue lashing, the foolish words for so long. He's like, I don't even want to hear your wisdom. Even if it is right. I ain't trying to hear that. I ain't trying to hear that, sis. Because the track record. Jump to verse 6.
Some man holding his tongue because he had not to answer.
Yeah, but some of y'all, when y'all don't even have the right answer, you still answer. You still got something to say and it'd be the wrong answer. You know damn well you should just keep your mouth shut, but you're still trying to talk. You're still trying to rebuttal. You're still trying to fight with words. You're still building contention in the house. You still try to usurp authority. But read it again.
Some man holding his tongue because he had not to answer.
Go ahead.
And some keep it silence, knowing his time.
Right. Because there's a time for you to speak. There's a time for you to rebuttal, which is no time. But there's a time to go back and forth with your husband in a right way. There's a right way to do it. There's a time to contend. There's a right way to do it. And there's a situations for it. But why are you arguing about the grocery list and the kids and what they're supposed to be eating? Why is that an argument? Why are you arguing about what you're supposed to be eating? Husband's trying to get you to eat healthy and you just want to eat trash. Why is that an argument? He's looking out for you. Why would that be an argument? I'm trying to look out for your health, but you want to argue with me about your health. But you suffering from all these ailments. Body's hurting, aching. You're on the verge of catching all diabetes and hypertension. I'm trying to look out for you, but you want to argue with me? Wow. You got to wake up. Read on.
Come, verse 7. A wise man will hold his tongue.
He'll do what?
Hold his tongue.
Read.
Till he see opportunity.
Come on.
But a babbler and a fool.
But a what?
A babbler.
Some sisters do what?
Babbler.
Read.
And a fool.
Come on.
Will regard no time.
Right. Because y'all think the time to talk is every time. Y'all think the time to argue is all the damn time. This is my time to talk. I don't want to hear that. This is my time. What I say goes. But all you're doing is just blabbing your mouth. Blah, 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 blah. Why do you think he don't want to hear what you got to say, even if it is in wisdom? Because what does it get to at this point? What are you doing to your husband with your words when they're negative? When they're not one of enthusiasm, when they're not one of building, when they're not encouraging. Some of y'all sisters don't even know how to encourage your husband. You don't even encourage him through his day, through his week. You don't even inquire about what he's dealing with, how his day actually was. I'm going to just run down my whole day. I don't care about your day. What's being taken from that man? Who knows? Go to Ecclesiastes 25 and verse 23. Let's do it.
Ecclesiastes chapter 25 and verse 3.
And 23.
And verse 23.
Uh-huh.
A wicked woman abateth the courage.
She does what?
Abateth the courage.
Read.
Maketh an heavy countenance.
Uh-huh.
And a wounded heart.
Read.
A woman that will not comfort her husband.
Yeah, you ain't got no comforting words in that tongue. All you got is piercing, backlash, backbiting, argument, disdain, hate, negative. Ain't no comfort. Damn, you can't say nothing comfortable to this man to ease the stress of his day. You can't say nothing comforting to get him into a good mood. But all you can do, you know how to get him in a bad mood and keep him there. But you don't know how to say the right things. Y'all trip me out, man. Y'all are supposed to know y'all husbands. Y'all have the keys. Y'all should know how to deal with your husband and talk to him. Y'all should know how. But see, a wise woman build her house. So she's gonna inquire. She's gonna look at, damn, well, last week when he came home and he was pissed off, or he just had a rough day, when I did this, and said this, he was good. You're going to remember and look back and say, oh, yeah, I know how to deal with him. I know how to, see, it's almost like you have to be deceitful in a way. In a good way, though. You got to bamboozle your husband a little bit out of his attitude. Well, a lot of y'all are like, oh, you got an attitude, nigga, screw you.
I'm going to have one with you.
I'm going to have one right with you. You got to be wise. You got to be, oh, okay, babe, you got an attitude? What's wrong? We're gonna talk about it. Yeah, I don't feel like talking, Nick. I don't feel like talking. Yeah, I know you don't feel like talking, but I'm going to just sit right here and rub these shoulders until I'm going to rub it out of you.
Well, I don't want to do that when you're mad. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to feel this tension in your shoulders and be like, damn, I can feel the tension. What's going on, big fella? You hit your husband with a big fella? You just laugh? Damn, she called me big fella. And then all of a sudden, man, because me and Ariel, we were in the mall, and the big fella came up, and then he was supposed to spend $200, but he didn't. That pissed me all the way off. it's all right, babe. And you just rubbing them shoulders, right? Because what does it take out of you to rub your husband's shoulder? What does it take out of you to comfort your husband? For some of y'all, it's a damn mission. For some of y'all, the pride on you is so high, it's like you don't even want to look at your husband. You don't even want to rub half his shoulder. You don't even want to rub his elbow. Right? You don't even want to do this to him. Because you're like, well, he has an attitude. He's mean to me. He's only mean to you because when he was trying to be nice, you came to him like a brute beast. I'll keep rubbing your elbow. Start with it. You came to him like an animal. Or you came to him sly, cunning. You came to him, I'm going to use the word, bitchy. Yeah. You came to him in that manner, where it wasn't even called for. He's trying to, hey babe, how you doing? Da-da-da-da. And you're like, whatever. Or why you do that? Like, some of y'all are like the biggest mood killers. Some of y'all kill the mood. Bro, if y'all only knew the way you kill the mood with the way you talk and the way you answer. The way you respond to things. Husband's trying to do something nice for you. Oh, don't touch me right there. It's like, what are you talking about? All I did was just touch the back of your arm. Well, that's my fat. Don't touch my fat. Like, I'm not even thinking about that. But guess what? Now I just won't touch you. Now I just won't even look at you. I'm going to bury myself in 1 Peter's. I'm going to go right to the Apocrypha and just bury my troubles. Because the way you approach and respond to things is like, damn, why you gotta treat me like that? Why you gotta come off in that so sharp and so niggerish? A lot of you sisters are niggerish, bro. In the way you deal with your husband.
And then you know what's sad is
what's sad?
They still have a legitimate, logical reasoning in their mind for doing it.
Oh, you're talking about the sisters?
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it goes back to what you had said before, that your righteousness isn't contingent on my righteousness, right?
Right.
So your brotherly love shouldn't be contingent on my brotherly love.
But it is for some reason, because if I'm having a bad day and you're in a good mood, I'm gonna continue to have a bad day. Nothing can cheer me up, nothing that you do, and I'm gonna express it in the way I talk to you, the way I deal with you, the way I respond to you.
But I mean, we've all like read the Bible in here a few times, right?
God.
Yeah. Does anybody know who Abigail and Nabal is? Con? Yeah. Nobody really thinks about that circumstance, like how the brother brought out. Her righteousness wasn't contingent on her husband, who was named after a fool. Nobody thinks of that circumstance. This
a lot of them ain't read the story.
They haven't. Okay, well, I'm gonna give you the gist of it. David and his warriors came up to this place, and him and his men were hungry. So he sent word out to Nabal, hey, listen, could you spare some bread? Could you break some bread? He cocked an attitude, said no.
Who is this man?
He wanted to strap up. He was like, listen, this dude don't want to break bread. We got to strap up. And his wife, understanding, dang, this is David. This is King David. This is a man who's slayed like tens of thousands of people. He's about to come and overtake my house. You know what? Let me meet him and greet him with some humility, and let me give him and his men some food.
Let me use wisdom to make my house not be destroyed.
Right. Let me use wisdom to keep my house safe and respect. And that's what she did. Because her husband was a fool and an idiot and didn't regard David as anybody, and he was disrespectful, and he was selfish, he was rude. The wife still maintained her integrity. She still maintained her integrity of her house. So his stupidity wasn't contingent, didn't leak over into Abigail and let the house fall. And when you do that, when you actually maintain your integrity and you maintain your position like you're supposed to, the Most High is going to fight for you. He killed Nabal. He killed them all. The Most High took out Nabal for David's sake. He didn't even have to touch him. How many of you are getting blessed because you're not maintaining your integrity in your house. That's sad. That was all.
Where we at? Ecclesiastes 25 and verse 20.
Ecclesiastes chapter 25 and verse 20.
Read verse 23.
Verse 23.
Uh-huh.
A wicked woman abateth the courage.
Go ahead.
Maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart.
And this is what happened. This is what happens when you talk to your husband disrespectfully, rashly, filthy communication. When you're mean all the damn time, when you're not encouraging, you abate his courage. Go ahead.
A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress. Distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees.
Yeah, you further weaken his. If there's one thing, he out there battling and fighting spiritually, right? But then he's up on his feet and hands all damn day, working. You lessen his courage and you weaken him further. Just off your speech. Jump to verse 20.
Verse 20. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man.
Yeah. You come with all these words. You come with all this back talk. You ever see an old man trying to walk up a sand dune? He ain't never gonna make it. He's struggling. Every time he get halfway, he just fall, especially an old man. It's hard enough to do it when you're young, but imagine an old man, 90 years old, trying to walk up a sand dune. Right. It ain't happening. His struggle is the same struggle that a man that has a wife that just blabs her mouth out of turn with no chill. It's the same thing. Jump to Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 5. I got a few more scriptures.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20 verse 5. There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise.
And is what?
And is found wise.
Yeah, ladies, sisters, there's wisdom in being silent. There's wisdom in that. Are we saying you got to be mute, dumb, deaf, blind, and stupid? No. What we are saying is know when to speak. Go ahead.
And another by much babbling becometh hateful.
No, I ain't got no time. And become what?
Becometh hateful.
And another what?
And another by much babbling becometh hateful.
Yeah, that's why your husband hates being around you. He hates the sound of your voice because of all the babbling, blabbling. That's when you come to him and you try to talk to him, he shuts you down in his mind. He automatically has an off switch for your mouth. In his mind, he just goes to ESPN. In his mind, he goes to the sports, right?
To the highlights.
Yeah, he goes to the highlight section. He goes to the highlight section in his mind, or he goes to anime in his brain, because like, damn, why are you hitting me with all this extra talking? Listen, I'm not talking about a lazy brother that don't want to deal with problems. I'm literally talking about you got sisters that talk and 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 talk out of season. It's not necessary. They go back and forth with their husband all the time. Go ahead, read on.
Verse 6.
Jump to verse 8.
Verse 8. He that uses many words shall be abhorred.
Yeah, abhorred.
Abhorred.
Yeah, man. Y'all know that nagging wife? Like, damn, I gotta go home to the all ball and chain. Gotta go home to my nagging ass wife. Right? A man hates that. He hates that. Where's those silent and loving women? Where's the woman that knows when to approach? Some of y'all don't even let your husband walk in the door before you just start bombarding him with your whole life's issues. He walks in, drops his bag. Babe, we gotta pay the bills. We gotta do this. We gotta do this. And the baby said this. And the dog did this. And I did this. And this. And this. And this. And then the sister said this. And this. He hadn't even walked through the front door yet. He hadn't even made it to the bedroom yet to just kick his shoes off. Read on.
And he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated.
And he that taketh to himself authority therein. Yeah, because you know what a lot of you sisters do? Read it from the top.
He that uses many words shall be aborted.
You know what you do with your many words? You try to take your husband's authority. You try to beat him down and overtalk him. You usurp the authority over your husband by trying to overtalk him, by trying to get the last word, by trying to make sure that you say the last thing, that you're right. So read on.
And he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated.
Yeah, you try to take the authority by over-talking, by having to have the last say. That's how you usurp authority over your husband. It says she shall be what?
And he that taketh authority, and he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated.
Go to Ecclesiastes 28 and verse 17.
Ecclesiastes chapter 28 and verse 17.
Uh-huh.
The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh.
Go ahead.
But the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones.
Yeah, because when you don't speak the right things, when you try to take that authority, when you start lashing out with your words, you start breaking your husband's bones. You might as well just whip him across his back. Go ahead.
Many have fallen by the edge of the sword.
Go ahead.
But not so many as have fallen by the tongue.
Yeah. More people die by what people have said than by the sword. Because words hold weight. And if you're not saying the right words to your husband, encouraging, uplifting, you're breaking them down. Read.
Verse 19. Well is he that is defended from it, and hath not passed through the venom thereof.
Well is he that's what?
Passed.
Wait, where you at? Verse 19.
Verse 19.
Read it again.
Well is he that is defended from it.
Uh-huh. Wait, mine say something different. Hold on.
28 and 19?
Yeah, mine says, well is he that is defended through the venom thereof.
No, that's the next. You skipped it. It skipped a couple words.
Okay, read on. Go ahead.
Verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Well is he that is defended from it.
Yeah, well is the man that's defended from all them damn words. That knows how to defend himself from all the back talk, all the hateful words, all the negative words. How does one defend himself? He just gets in that book. You come at me the wrong way, I'm going to go defend myself. So what happens? You get often rebuked. You get often checked. And then you start, it's a cycle. You come negative, you get checked, you stiffen your neck. Then we got to do the whole cycle over again. You come hateful, you get checked, you stiffen your neck. You come prideful, you get checked, you stiffen your neck. And it's just this bad cycle where it's like, when you going to learn? Go ahead, read.
And hath not passed through the venom thereof.
Go ahead.
Who have not drawn the yoke thereof.
Uh-huh.
Nor hath been bound in her bands.
Go ahead.
For the yoke thereof is a yoke of iron.
Yeah, when you start talking and these words start weighing down a man, you putting him back in slavery. It's almost like he's a slave because he just is like, what can I do?
Right.
You just gonna talk. Listen, I used to sit back and watch my uncle. Poor little old uncle. I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. Right? Bro, listen. His wife would come home from work, my aunt, and he would sit on the couch. He'd be watching TV, and she would just come, Charles, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, I never experienced anything like it. And he would just sit there quiet. He'd just be clearing his throat, watching his TV. And she's like, 100 miles an hour. Then she would leave, go to the room, come back. I'm like, damn. I would get in my car and leave the house. I was like, wow, what? I'm talking about every day. She would nag this man. If she asked him to put a light bulb in, he would do it. But there was something else that she needed, and this and that. I mean, I never witnessed anything like this in my life. And he would just sit there and take it. Until one day he said, I ain't taking this no more. He packed his stuff and he left. Why you leave? Man, she nags too much. She nagged this man for 30 years.
Damn, it nagged him to death.
She nagged him to death. She nagged him until he sunk in that couch. She broke his damn bones, man. She put this man in a yoke of iron with her damn nagging. With her lack of uplifting, her lack of positivity. Everything that came out of her mouth was negative. There's always something negative. I had to look at her like, damn, why are you always so negative? It always made me say, you know what? I never want to get married. I was 16 looking at that. I was like, I never want to get married if I got to do it like this. They had a nice house. They had all the cars. They had businesses. But the way she dealt made me say, I would never want none of this if I got to deal with a woman like that. Come on, let's read.
And the bands thereof are bands of brass.
Go ahead.
The death thereof is an evil death.
Wait, the what?
The death.
The words bring what?
Death.
Read.
Thereof is an evil death.
Go ahead.
The grave were better than it.
Yeah, it was better if that man was laying flat in the grave than to hear you talk with lack of wisdom, lack of understanding, just blotting any old thing out, disrespectful, disgruntled. Read.
Verse 22. It shall not have rule over them that fear the Most High.
Go ahead.
Neither shall they be burned.
Jump to 28 and verse 12.
28 and verse 12.
So this is the either or. This is why we say that the women have the control in the house. Spiritually, as far as which way does things go. Husband come home mad, does he stay mad? Husband comes home happy, does he stay happy? It's all on you. Husband checks you. The scriptures say there's a rebuke that's not comely. Husband might come at you sharp, blaze you. What do? Oh, I know. Some of y'all are like, I'm going to blaze that nigga back. Husband blazed me, I'm blazing him back. I ain't going to pull one scripture, but I'm blazing him. Right?
I'm not going to cook him anything.
I'm not going to cook. Yeah, I'm not going to clean. I'm not going to make him a carpet.
I'm not going to stay.
I'm not going to do my duties. I'm not going to stay at the house tonight. I'm going back to wherever. I'm going to go sleep in the car tonight because I ain't dealing with this. But I'm going to show you. Ecclesiastes 28 and verse 12. Read this.
If thou blow the spark,
right,
it shall burn.
Right, because if your husband comes and he's that spark, he's sparking through the house. Get this right. Do this. Woo, 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 woo. Right? He ain't being a lion in his house, but he's rebuking you sharply. Right? Now, if you blow on that spark, it's going to burn. Meaning, he comes at you sharp. And you want to come back sharp? Oh, burn, baby, burn. We going to burn. Read on.
If thou spit upon it.
But if you do what?
Spit upon it.
Read.
It shall be quenched.
Read.
And both these come out of thy mouth.
They come out of what?
Come out of thy mouth.
Yeah, your husband comes sharp as a knife. Something got lit under his butt. And he comes home, I got to get my house in order. Do this, do this. You didn't do that right. How come you didn't do this? How come this? How come that? It's up to you to say, well, okay, let me listen. Let me be slow. Let me be quick to hear, slow to talk, slow to anger. Let me listen. Yeah, he's right. I didn't do that right. He got a point. Okay, I should have did that the way he said. Yep, I said I was going to do that last week and I didn't do it, so he got me there. You got to spit on that spark. Come on, you're right, babe. Let me take care of that. Simple as that. All you need is a con babe. I don't even care if you say con babe. Right? But just con. I'll take care of it. I got that right now. But instead it's, well, I got to work too, nigga, and I got this to do, and I'm taking care of all the kids, and I got to give them all baths, and I got to make their lunch, and I ain't got time to do what you want me to do. Okay, you just sparked that fire. You just blew on that spark. That wasn't the response I was looking for. Now we're going to have to go at it. Instead of just saying, "Come, let me take care of that." But both of these come out of the mouth. That's what you got to understand. Both come out of the mouth and they have repercussions in the house. One is going to build and one is going to tear down. Go to Proverbs 15 and verse 1.
Proverbs chapter 15 verse 1.
Read.
A soft answer turneth away wrath.
A what?
A soft answer turneth away wrath.
Your husband comes wrathful and what?
A soft answer turneth away wrath.
Your husband is just blazing you and what?
A soft answer turneth away wrath.
How do you come to your husband when he's just going into you and you don't want to be disrespectful? You do what?
A soft answer turneth away wrath.
Go ahead.
But grief
really got something to be pissed off about. You should have had the wherewithal to say, you know what? Proverbs 15:1. Soft answer, turn away wrath. Let me, even if I don't agree right now, come on, babe. So he can turn down a little bit. And then I can come back to him and say, okay, hey, I know you want me to do this, this, and this, but this is the reason why I didn't do it. Or he can tone down and he'll go to you and say, you know what, babe, hey, you know, I was wrong. Shouldn't have came to you like that. This is what was going on and this is why. But instead, your husband comes wrathful, executing biblical judgment, and you want to stir up anger. You want to go back and forth and contend. That ain't the time. That is not the time to do that. Ecclesiasticus 19 and verse 6. Ecclesiasticus 28 and verse 5.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 19 and verse 6.
Go ahead.
He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife.
Go ahead.
And he that hateth babbling shall have less evil.
This is how you have less evils in your house. This is how you have Satan not dwell up in your sheets. Y'all lay in the bed and you got Satan just kicking it right between y'all, watching Netflix and chilling. Why? Because read it again.
He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife.
Because y'all don't know how to rule y'all's tongue. You don't know how to just hold your tongue for a moment. It's only for a moment. You'll get your chance to talk, just not right then and there. But now it's like, oh, you don't want to listen? Okay, well, now it's going to get strife. Now we got to strive with words. Now we got to bite and devour each other with words. Because you don't want to listen. You want to try to overtalk me. But I know I got to have the last say because I get the last say. But you don't want to have me have the last say because you're the woman. And the world told you that you can do whatever you want and you can have the last say. So now we're going back and forth, power struggle, fighting. But it says a soft answer turn away wrath. Read it again.
He that can rule his tongue.
Ecclesiasticus 36 and verse 23. Read. No, read where you at.
He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife. And he that hated babbling shall have less evil.
Ecclesiasticus 28 and verse 25.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 28 and verse 25.
This is what some of y'all have to do. Read.
And weigh thy words in a balance.
Yeah, you got to weigh your words. Meaning you got to sit back and say, damn, should I say this right now? Let me say this sentence to myself. Let me say my rebuttal to myself and see if it even makes sense. Let me talk to myself real quick to make sure that what I'm about to spew out of my lips ain't going to cause more anger. If not, read on.
And make a door and a bar for my mouth.
Yeah, you need to put a padlock on your damn lips. You need to build a door and put a lock on it. Don't say nothing. Just be quiet. I'd rather that. I'd rather you just be quiet for a moment. Hear the matter. Take the check, whatever it is. Whatever you feel you want to call it. The chastisement, the rebuke, the chastening. The sufferation. Suffer wrong, whatever you want to call it. Just take it for that moment. Let him cool down. He might be acting like a damn lion in this house. He might be wrong. Does that mean that you render evil for evil? Nah. Let him cool down. Give him an hour, 20, 30 minutes. Come back. Hey, baby. I know you was a little turnt earlier. Let's deal with it. Or I know I was a little turnt earlier. Let's deal with it. Ecclesiasticus 36 and verse 23.
If there be kindness.
If there be what?
Kindness.
What?
Kindness.
Read.
Meekness.
And what?
Meekness.
Come on.
And comfort.
And what?
And comfort.
And what?
And comfort.
Read.
And her tongue.
Read.
Then is not her husband like other men.
Yeah. You got that meekness, comfort, and kindness. Your husband ain't going to be like other men. He ain't going to be broken and beat down, weak-ass knees, hurting elbows, head just hurting all the time. He ain't going to be like those other men that are just trodden and beat down. He going to be strong with a K. Strong. He's going to be strong with a K. He's going to be delighted to come home. He's going to be delighted to talk to you. He's going to answer your questions when you ask. He's going to communicate with you. Because then he's not sitting back thinking like, damn, I'm just communicating with a damn idiot. He's going to be pleasant to say, babe, let's have a convo. He's going to know that when he does come to you to talk, you ain't going to lie to him and be like, I'm good. What's wrong, babe? Nothing. I'm good. Right. When you just hanging down your damn head getting beat up by all the damn demons, he's going to be pleased to dwell and talk to you. Proverbs 31 and verse 26.
Proverbs chapter 31, verse 6.
26.
Oh, 26?
Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 26.
Go ahead.
She opened her mouth with wisdom.
Wait, what should she do?
Open her mouth with wisdom.
So, a soft answer turn away much wrath. But what is that answer?
With wisdom.
With what?
Wisdom.
Read.
And in her and in her tongue is the law of kindness.
Wait, she's supposed to speak the what?
Law of kindness.
Yeah, you're supposed to be coming with wisdom to your husband. Not some off the wall retarded thoughts that make no sense and just stir up strife. Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 12. Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 12. Proverbs 8 and 8.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 12.
Read.
The words of the wise man's mouth are gracious. But the lips of a fool will swallow himself.
Read it again.
The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious. But the lips of a fool will swallow up himself.
Yeah, a lot of y'all get caught up in your talk. You get swallowed up in your own talk. You're talking so fast, you're talking so out of turn, you're talking nonsense. You get swallowed up in that. There's no grace in your speech. Your husband don't want to hear it. Because it shows the lack of respect for him, his wisdom, his leadership, his ability to lead you, your household. You basically tell him, nigga, I don't trust you. I don't believe in you. When you come with that, when you come with
that American vibe.
Yeah, that old I can do better by myself. I know more than you. Right. I can do better than you. You show your husband straight out that
he's independent.
You don't trust in his wisdom. When his wisdom is just coming from the scriptures. You don't trust his logic, his thinking. You got to see what you're doing to your household. You got to see the example that you show to your children. Proverbs 8 and verse 8, last scripture.
Proverbs 8 and 8. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness.
They're what?
All the words of my mouth are in righteousness.
I gotta remember this, man. We all gotta remember this as a whole, as a body. Read it again.
All the words of my mouth are in righteousness.
Read.
There is nothing froward or perverse in them.
And this is what we gotta remember, man, when we deal with one another. We have to remember that we gotta deal with one another in righteousness. We gotta be, and we can't be perverse towards one another. We always gotta deal justly with one another. We can't lie to each other. Can't backbite, talk bad, disrespect. Con? Any questions?
Lie.
Any questions online? Hopefully that answers y'all's questions online. Hopefully I answered your questions online pertaining to the subject. It's 10:07 here. If there's any questions on the subject, please send them now. We'll give them a moment. Nothing in here, right? If y'all got anything on the subject, we'll give them a moment. I don't know if you're asking a question. Jesus is not God. Yeah, we know that. You can send them the link, Trinity. We did a class on that. We know that Jesus is not God. We can send you a class on that you can check out. Okay, what's your question? What is your question?
Jesus is not a God.
Oh, Jesus is not a God. Depends on the sense of the word God that you're using. It means powers. Jesus, Yahweh Shai was a power.
God.
How is Jesus a God? Prove for the Bible. I'm going to give you one scripture.
St. John 1:1.
Well, it's St. John 1:1. I'm going to give you one scripture and then. All right. Go ahead, read that. St. John chapter 1, verse 1. Go ahead.
In the beginning was the Word.
Right, so in the beginning was the Word. Go ahead.
And the Word was with power.
No, read it the way you see it.
God.
Uh-huh.
In the beginning was the Word.
Go ahead.
And the Word was with God.
Read.
And the Word was God.
So in the beginning was the Word, Yahweh Shai. And the Word was with God, the Most High. Read on.
The same was.
Read back up.
God.
Uh-huh.
In the beginning was the Word.
Was Yahweh Shai.
And the Word was with God.
And the Word was with the Most High. Go ahead.
And the Word was God.
And Yahweh Shai was God. The word God, when you translate, is Elohim, which means powers. See, you have the misunderstanding of the word God. You got to look these words up in Hebrew, and you'll understand. It means powers. Yahweh Shai was a power. Are you?
He can't even spell right, so.
Then who is Jesus? I mean, I'm not gonna. Jesus was the only begotten Son of the Most High. But yeah. I mean, I don't want to go back and forth. It's 10:11. So nothing else in here? All right, we're gonna salute them online. Say shalom.
Shalom.
Let's rise and face the east.
Yeah, I know, because you start elaborating, start getting your feel. I start getting in my emotions. Kiki, do you love me? Kiki, do you love me?
Jesus is real, but you devils taught lies on Christ. So many lies that when we come with the truth, people think that the lies is the truth and that the truth is the lie. Who changed the truth for God into a lie? In English,